Chapter 2081. Lu Qingyu's expression was gloomy as she shouted angrily. "You bunch of people, what are you blabbering about? I told you to get lost, so why are you still here?" She knows how powerful Qin Yun is, so she is not afraid of transcending Xianxi City being breached. Moreover, she feels that it is time for transcending Xianxi City to fall. Because the news of Lu Haikong's death had spread, the aristocratic families in the city, as well as the people in the city, didn't feel sad at all. They didn't remember how the city was built. They didn't remember the hardships Lu Haikong and the others went through to build the city. All the families in the city had been infiltrated by the four major sections. The people in the city have been influenced by the four great sects and believe that transcending Xianxi City should not belong to the Lu family. Qingyu, don't cry when the time comes. Bai Kunji glared angrily at Qin Yun, turned around, and flew away. The group of seniors and young elites spread the news, telling them that the altar had fallen into the hands of outsiders. He said that Lu Qingyu was too infatuated and was bewitched by men, so she wanted to monopolize the altar. This disappearance was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. In just a short moment, everyone in the city knew about it. After learning that the experts of those families and the young geniuses of the four great sects will not participate in the defense, they packed up their things and left transcending Xianxi City. Many people in the city cursed Lu Qingyu, saying that she was selfish and wanted to monopolize the altar. Even though they were cursing, they knew very well that the altar belonged to Lu Qingyu, and the city belonged to her as well. The operation of the barrier in the city was under Lu Qingyu's control. Those who know the inside story are rather surprised. They thought that the four great sects would be able to take control of transcending Xianxi City from Lu Qingyu's hands. Lu Qingyu was able to control all of the barriers in the city. Thus, even those of the older generation did not dare to rashly make a move. Otherwise, they would have snatched it long ago. Several hours passed, and the city was deathly silent. Everyone left because the evil powers were about to attack the city, and the great families and four great sects were not going to take action. So it was highly likely that transcending Xianxi City would fall. Qin Yun and Lu Qingyu flew to the top of a tall building and looked down at the empty, transcending Xianxi City. "Big brother Qin, they haven't left yet." Lu Qingyu looked into the distance and said, "They're stationed outside. Could it be that they want to watch transcending Xianxi City get destroyed?" "It should be." Qin Yun's expression turned cold as he said, "I suspect that those guys are acquainted with the so-called evil forces." Lu Qingyu said angrily, "I also have the same suspicion. I've secretly investigated those evil forces, but I couldn't find any clues. They've hidden themselves very well. I only know that the cultivation technique they use is somewhat similar to the four great sects. If it's really related to the four great sects, I won't let them off." Lu Qingyu said, "I'm just suspecting. Qingyu, killing people in the Nine Nether Realm is rather dangerous. We need to investigate thoroughly before we act." Qin Yun said, "I hope it's not them." Lu Qingyu snorted. There was no one left in the city. Lu Qingyu sealed the entrance, so no one could enter or leave. Qin Yun brought Lu Qingyu to the energy source deep underground. Deep underground, there was a huge underground palace. This underground palace is very well hidden. It is protected by illusion formation. If one can't pass through the illusion formation, they won't be able to see the underground palace. So this is transcending Xianxi City's energy source. Lu Qingyu saw the energy source inside the spacious stone room of the underground palace. It is a very large light blue water ball. This light blue water ball is floating inside the stone room. It has a height of several tens of meters. It is slowly rotating and overflowing light blue water vapor. The water vapor has been absorbed by all kinds of runes and then released to every corner of the city through the formation on the ground. This energy source is very good, but because it has been here for too long, it has been almost consumed. Qin Yun said, "Then how should we deal with it?" Lu Qingyu asked, "Wait until those evil forces come. Come, I will help you transform into saint." Qin Yun said with a laugh, Ah, can I transform into saint? Lu Qingyu said in amazement. I have been in seclusion for a very long time, and it has been very difficult for me to break through. No problem. Qin Yun faintly smiled and took out the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation can absorb the power of Divine Universe Golden Stone. It can allow people to cultivate even faster. Moreover, Lu Qingyu herself cultivates dragon power, so it is even more suitable for her. The Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation is frantically operating, releasing 9 colored energy and pouring it into Lu Qingyu's body. Qin Yun is guiding Lu Qingyu from the side to refine it. Lu Qingyu can already sense the benefits of this kind of energy. It is much stronger than the energy she absorbed in Rising Dragon Sword Sect. Previously, when she was cultivating, the energy that she absorbed into her body was like a trickling stream. But now that the 9-Dragon Divine Universe power has entered her body, it can be said that it is like a great river rushing forward. Lu Qingyu's foundation is very good. She is strengthening in all aspects. Her body has already cultivated sacred veins. Her body is also sacred body. Only her martial spirit and soul are not sacred spirit. But with the help of the 9-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation, she can very quickly transform her martial spirit and soul into sacred spirit. Outside transcending Xianxi City, people from all the influential families and 4 great sects have set up camp. They are waiting for those vicious barbarian evil forces to attack. That little girl is too willful in the end. Wait until she sees how dreadful those guys are. She will cry and beg us to take action. Rising Dragon, Sect Master said with smile. Qingyu is really something. How could she be bewitched by a guy she hasn't seen for many years? Bai Kunji's expression is filled with melancholy as he said, How am I inferior to that guy? Bai Fume said with charming smile, Brother, Qingyu is just an infatuated woman with no experience. Wait until she sees how formidable those evil forces are. She will naturally know that you are her true support. Lu Shaoka said, At that time, she will also know how useless that surnamed Qin brat is. Third Uncle Lu furiously said, That surnamed Qin brat actually told us to scram. This is truly infuriating. I want to see how he will beg us to return. The people inside the city have not gone far. Apparently, they are all waiting for Lu Qingyu to beg them to take action. Violet Cloud Manor Master said with sneer. It seems like everyone knows that Lu Qingyu is a stupid woman. Coiling Snake Palace Master laughed loudly and said, There is no way around it. After all, she is a little girl with shallow experience. She has not experienced any wind and rain. She cannot clearly see the situation. The earth suddenly shook. Everyone who was chatting and laughing immediately became alert. They're here. Lu Shaoka shouted in alarm. Are those evil forces here? What a strong aura. They're quite strong. Don't worry, they're not here for us. Rising Dragon, Sect Master said. They have spies in the city. They should know about the situation of the altar. Third Uncle Lu said. Looking at their formation, they should be directly attacking the city. Coiling Snake Palace Master said. How come none of those fellows from the Dark Immortal Sect are here? Where did they go? I suspect that those fellows from the Dark Immortal Sect are part of the evil forces. Violet Cloud Manor Master said. When everyone heard this, their expressions were very calm, as if they already had their suspicions. By Family's Patriarch said, They should know that we are all watching the battle. If they don't want to cause trouble, they definitely won't attack us. After all, this group of fellows are also very afraid of death. Dust and sand are rising from the distant earth. Several 100,000 several-meter-long gray wolves are madly rushing over. On the back of these gray wolves, there are strong and sturdy armored experts. They are holding spears in their hands. They are roaring in unison. They are majestically rushing towards transcending Xianxi City like a tidal wave. Transcending Xianxi City's barrier has already been opened, but those evil forces are not afraid at all. They did not slow down at all and directly rushed over. When these wolf cavalry soldiers rushed over, Several light balls flickering with devilish red light suddenly flew over from a distance. Boom, boom, boom. A series of trembling sounds echoed. The barrier outside, transcending Xianxi City, has been directly broken. The expression of Rising Dragon Sword Sect Master and others who are watching from the sidelines greatly changed. Their faces are filled with shock. How is this possible? The barrier has been broken in a short while. Rising Dragon Sect Master yelled in alarm. That barrier is very strong. Coiling Snake Palace Master's voice is slightly trembling. Those guys who attacked just now are all very formidable sacred transformation experts. It seems like they are great sage experts. Great sage attacking the city? No wonder. Bai Kunji said, it seems like Qingyu is dead for sure. Luckily that little girl, Lu Qingyu, let us go. Otherwise we would not be able to resist with our strength. Purple Cloud Manor Master said with lingering fear in his heart. Qingyu deserves to die. If we were here, those guys would not dare to attack the city like this. Bai Fumei coldly groaned and said, her beautiful eyes flickered with a proud expression. Because now that Lu Qingyu is dead, no one can compete with her for beauty. After the several 100,000 savage wolf cavalry entered the city, they are like a tide, destroying all the buildings inside the city. Many people who have come out of the city are looking down from the sky. Seeing this scene, they repeatedly shook their heads. They feel that if the sun altar is here, the barrier will not be broken so easily. Very soon, all the buildings inside, transcending Xianxi City, have been destroyed. There's a very strong barrier around the sun altar. Even though the altar is gone, the barrier is still very strong. Several powerful old men from the evil forces appeared. They shot out balls of red light and bombarded the barrier, but they were unable to break it. The barrier at the center of the city is completely empty. There is nothing at all. But those old men know that there must be something hidden inside. Qin Yun and Lu Qingyu are underground. Lu Qingyu is still cultivating. She is about to break through. Qin Yun sensed that there is a great movement above. He said with frown, the barrier has been broken. Qingyu, continue cultivating. I will go up and take a look. Big brother Qin, I want to go with you. I am worried about you. Lu Qingyu promptly said. Qingyu, don't you know my cultivation? You are still worried about me? Qin Yun said with laugh. Chapter 2082. There are a lot of wolf riders attacking the city. They have tightly surrounded the barrier at the center of the city. A few old men wearing black robes are leading them. Although they look old, they are very strong. They are not wearing armor and are floating in the air, looking at the empty city center. The big shots of the sects and families who are watching from afar are shocked when they see the old men. Rising Dragon Sect Master said in shock, aren't those elders of the Dark Immortal Sect? Did they all become saints? Becoming a sage was still a very difficult task for these big shots. It must be known that the Nine Nether Realm is not as good as the Immortal Desolate. There are a lot of resources bestowed by the Nine Suns. Therefore, if they want to become saints, they need to endure for a very long time. If they enter the depths of the Nine Nether Realm to search for cultivation resources, it is very risky and they might die inside. Therefore, if they enter the depths of the Nine Nether Realm to search for resources, they are prepared to die and they go in groups. For example, Lu Haikong and the others were killed on the way back. The powerful great saint old man in the lead is the sect master of the Dark Immortal Sect. Violet Cloud Villa Master's eyes flickered as he said in low voice, let's go. Since the Dark Immortal Sect knows that we are nearby and did not attack us, they are not afraid of us. Coiling Snake Palace Master said. Then what are we going to do? Third Uncle Lu said with smile. Of course we are going to rely on the Dark Immortal Sect. They obviously have some secret method to smoothly become saints. If we rely on the Dark Immortal Sect and become their subordinates, our days will be good. Bai Kunji nodded. With the Dark Immortal Sect's strength, they will force us sooner or later. It is better for us to rely on them. We did not help Lu Qingyu defend against them. If they can successfully break into the city, their attitude towards us will definitely be very good. Bai Fumei said. After the big shots of the sects and families finished discussing, They flew over. The wolf cavalry army on the ground also sensed that someone was approaching. They all became alert and began to stir. Among the 5 old men floating in the air, the tallest old man suddenly raised his hand and said in deep voice, "Quiet." Not long after, Rising Dragon Sect Master, Coiling Snake Palace Master, Violet Cloud Villa Master, and other big shots of the major families arrived beside the Dark Immortal Sect Master. When they flew over, their faces were plastered with stiff and fake smiles to show their intentions. Headmaster Nether Immortal, long time no see. Congratulations on successfully becoming a sage and becoming a great sage with outstanding strength. The Rising Dragon Headmaster hurriedly cupped his hands and bowed. He looked extremely humble. The others followed suit. When they got closer, they found out that the elders of the Dark Immortal Sect were all in the Sage Realm. Only the Sect Master of the Dark Immortal Sect was in the Great Sage Realm. This made them even more excited, because the Dark Immortal Sect's elder and sect leader had only recently broken through, which meant that they had grasped a secret technique. If they could curry favor with the Dark Immortal Sect, they would be able to become saints very quickly. The Nether Immortal Sect Master's face was gloomy, and the corners of his mouth curled upwards. Coupled with his wrinkled face, he looked incomparably ghastly and strange, causing one's hair to stand on end. "I've heard about what happened to you. I didn't expect such a variable to appear in the altar." Nether Immortal Sect Master nodded her head and said, "You didn't stop us from attacking the city. This is a very wise decision. There were hundreds of elders from the sects and clans. It could be said that they were the strongest existences in this area. However, in the face of a Saint Transformation expert, they were not even fart." At this moment, Qin Yun pulled Lu Qingyu and flew out from the ground. Seeing the two of them appear, everyone let out a burst of low cry, especially the tens of thousands of spectators. They thought that Qin Yun and Lu Qingyu were hiding very well and wouldn't come out. They didn't expect that they would come out at this time. This is simply courting death. "Qingyu, why are you still not obediently handing over the altar to the Nether Immortal Sect Master?" Third Uncle Lu saw Lu Qingyu come out and immediately rebuked her. Lu Qingyu, the Nether Immortal Sect Master, is a great Sage Realm expert. You should know how strong a great Sage Realm expert is, right? Bai Fumei's face is filled with sneer. "Your lover seems to be only a peak Immortal Emperor. The Nether Immortal Sect Master can slap him to death with a single palm." Bai Kunji said coldly, "Qingyu, if you hand over the altar, I can plead for you and guarantee that you won't die. But that Qin brat won't be so lucky, he must die." Lu Shaoka shouted, "Qingyu, the Nether Immortal Sect Master is a great Sage Realm expert, and the other elders of the Nether Immortal Sect are Saint Realm experts. No matter how strong you two Immortal Emperors are, what's the use? Can't you see the situation clearly?" The other seniors also nodded their heads. The Nether Immortal Sect Master looked coldly at Qin Yun and said, "Your barrier is a bit strong, but it won't last long. Hurry up and hand over the altar." "Lu Qingyu, hurry up. The Rising Dragon Sect Master is eager to curry favor with the Nether Immortal Sect Master," he shouted. "You are a disciple of my Rising Dragon Sword Sect. I order you as the Sect Master to hand over the altar and give it to the Nether Immortal Sect Master." Lu Qingyu's expression is ice cold, and she is very angry. She wants nothing more than to rush out and start a massacre. Qin Yun's expression is calm. He held Lu Qingyu's hand and said indifferently, "The altar is in my hands now. Don't make things difficult for Qingyu." Everyone is immediately alarmed and furious. Lu Qingyu really gave the altar to this person. "Qingyu, you prodigal girl, how can you give such a precious altar to him?" Third Uncle Lu is extremely angry. "Lu Qingyu, you stupid woman." Bai Fumei is also flustered and exasperated. She angrily cursed. "The Nether Immortal Sect Master will not let you off. She is jealous that Lu Qingyu is more beautiful than her, more powerful than her, more outstanding than her, and also has the precious altar in her hands." Bai Kunji shook his head and sighed, then said with sneer, "I really misjudged you. Lu Qingyu, I was infatuated with you in vain. I didn't expect you to give the altar to someone you haven't seen for many years. You are truly an extremely stupid woman. The Nether Immortal Sect Master's sinister eyes flickered with fierceness. He looked at Qin Yun and said, "No matter who has the altar, you must hand it over today. May I ask, how much do you know about that altar? Why do you say that the altar is yours?" Qin Yun faintly smiled. "That altar is my Nether Immortal Sect's sacred object. Naturally, it belongs to my Nether Immortal Sect." Nether Immortal Sect Master coldly shouted, "Less nonsense. Quickly hand over the altar." Qin Yun suddenly waved his hand and the altar appeared. Now it has become very small, like a small table floating in the air. Seeing the altar appear, everyone let out a burst of low cry. They did not expect that the altar could become so small that it can be carried by a single person. "Hand it over." Nether Immortal Sect Master's eyes are filled with fanaticism as he loudly shouted. Immediately after, Qin Yun took out another altar and said, "You said that the altar is the Nether Immortal Sect's sacred object. Then may I ask, which of these two altars belongs to your Nether Immortal Sect?" Two small altars appeared and floated in the air. Everyone is dumbstruck looking at this scene. There are actually two altars. What is even more frightening is that after the two altars flew out of the barrier, they became very large and floated in the air like mountains. Everyone present, including Lu Qingyu, are looking at the two altars shining with bright golden light. Their faces are filled with shock. Especially the group of people far away, they are constantly crying out in alarm. Two altars. Moreover, they are releasing two different energy fluctuations. They can confirm that these are real altars and not illusions. Nether Immortal Sect Master, can you confirm which one belongs to your Nether Immortal Sect? Qin Yun asked. These two are ours. Our Nether Immortal Sect has two altars. These are our sacred objects. Although Nether Immortal Sect Master is amazed, he immediately calmed down. He knows that these two altars are not easy to control. However, he believes that with his great sage strength, as long as he kills the person who owns the altar, he will be able to control the altar easily. Rising Dragon Sect Master and other big shots immediately realized something when they saw the two altars. Lu Qingyu, this mysterious big brother Qin, has an altar. The altar at the center of transcending Xianxi City is very likely related to this big brother Qin. Does your Nether Immortal Sect truly have two altars? Qin Yun said with sneer. Indeed, I saw it with my own eyes. My Nether Immortal Sect's ancestor built it. Back then, it was very difficult for us to build these two altars. Nether Immortal Sect Master said with certainty. Qin Yun laughed, then waved his hand, and a golden light flew out of the barrier. Another burst of exclamation came from the distance. Because another altar has appeared in the sky. 3 altars, Qin Yun said with smile. Nether Immortal Sect Master, you just said that your Nether Immortal Sect only has 2 altars? Then what about the third one? Nether Immortal Sect Master is stunned. Everyone is stunned. They don't know what it means to have these altars. They only know that they are very strong. Qin Yun's 3 altars have not been modified by the heavenly law divine domain, so they look exactly the same. These 3 altars are rather old. I will let you take a look at the modified ones. Qin Yun finished speaking and took out another modified altar. This sun altar is even bigger. It looks like a 10,000 feet tall golden mountain. It is floating in the sky. Its might is overflowing to the heaven. The new altar burst out with even more dazzling golden light. Just the dreadful and boundless divine power caused everyone present to tremble from head to toe. Lu Qingyu already knew that this altar belongs to Qin Yun, but she did not expect that there would be so many of these formidable altars. What caused people to be shocked the most is that Qin Yun is still putting down more altars. More and more altars appeared one after another, shocking everyone present. 9 altars appeared and formed a circle around the surrounding stars. The wolf cavalry soldiers on the ground all retreated one after another because they are feeling incomparably uncomfortable from the pressure. Lu Qingyu said coldly. These altars belong to Big Brother Qin. You don't know, but Big Brother Qin was the immortal desolate's floating cloud, immortal king several tens of thousands of years ago. That floating cloud city from before was built by Big Brother Qin. Everyone cannot help but feel alarmed. If he was an immortal king several tens of thousands of years ago, then it is impossible for him to be an immortal emperor now. Chapter 2083. The Sun Altar has been in transcending Xianxi City for a very long time. The big shots of the four great sects have seen it from close range, but they don't know what use it has. They believe that it can bring energy to transcending Xianxi City, so they want to obtain it. And now, they could see 9 mountain-like altars floating around. They suddenly realized that these altars have offensive power. Good, you are awesome. You actually have so many of these altars. Nether Immortal Sect Master said with evil smile. I am indeed unable to take away the altars, but as long as I kill you, the altars will no longer be under your control. They will belong to me. Originally, Rising Dragon Sect Master and others were worried that Qin Yun is very strong. But now that they saw Nether Immortal Sect Master so confident, they felt a lot more relieved. In their opinion, even if Qin Yun is a great sage, he will not be able to defeat a great sage like Nether Immortal Sect Master. Moreover, there are several great sage elders beside Nether Immortal Sect Master. Nether Immortal Sect Master attacked Qin Yun with a palm strike. Saint Power surged violently and condensed into a red shock wave. Qin Yun and Lu Qingyu are inside the barrier. The barrier is still very strong, but at this moment, after being attacked by the powerful Saint Power, the barrier also began to distort. Explosion sound echoed and gave rise to a burst of gale. The gale rushed all around, whistling continuously. Although the barrier has become distorted, it has not been broken. This situation is very awkward because Nether Immortal Sect Master has been accumulating power for a long time. Rising Dragon Sect Master reacted the fastest. He exclaimed in admiration and said, Nether Immortal Sect Master is very strong. Just this punch alone is enough to make us prostrate ourselves in admiration. Soon after, he furiously rebuked Lu Qingyu. Wretched girl, quickly tell your lover to hand over the altar to Nether Immortal Sect Master. Otherwise, when he breaks the barrier, the one who will die will be you. Lu Qingyu, you have already seen Nether Immortal Sect Master's strength. Even if your man is a great sage, he is still too young. He is certainly not a match for the Dark Immortal Dean. Bai Fumei sneered and said, So what if he has 9 altars? He can only use them to scare us and keep up appearances. At this time, Qin Yun's body suddenly flickered and he left the barrier. Rising Dragon Sect Master and others immediately retreated. They are extremely scared in their hearts. Nether Immortal Sect Master is also startled. He really did not expect that Qin Yun would leave the barrier. Die. The Nether Immortal Sect Master's reaction was extremely fast. She quickly dashed forward. Her fist condensed with Berserk Saint Power and smashed into Qin Yun's abdomen. Rumble. A deafening sound erupted as the ground was torn apart. Shockwaves erupted in all directions as the saint energy between the heavens and the earth surged up and down. The imposing manner was like a raging wave, extremely shocking. What was even more shocking was that Qin Yun's abdomen was hit by the fist, but he was completely fine. Qin Yun floated there motionlessly. Such a powerful attack was actually unable to make him retreat at all. The hearts of those immortal emperors were filled with fear. They were very clear that if that fist of the Nether Immortal Sect Master landed on their bodies, they would definitely turn into ashes. For Qin Yun to be able to block it without any damage meant that he was not afraid of such power. You want to obtain the altar with your measly strength? Do you really not know the origin of these altars? As Qin Yun spoke, he punched out. Nether Immortal Sect Master realized how powerful and dreadful Qin Yun is. His reaction is also very fast. He wanted to escape, but his body was wrapped up by a gravitational force, making him unable to move. Bang! Qin Yun's seemingly gentle punch overflowed with saint energy, wrapped in 9 layers of saint radiance. It directly penetrated the Nether Immortal Sect Master's chest and came out from his back. Everyone was standing behind the Nether Immortal Sect Master. They could clearly see that Qin Yun's fist covered in layers of saint radiance hit the Nether Immortal Sect Master's back. At this moment, everyone was shocked, and their faces were filled with terror. Rising Dragon Sect Master, Coiling Serpent Palace Master, Violet Cloud Mana Master, Third Uncle Lu, Bai Fumei, Bai Kunji, Lu Shaoka, and the other big shots were dumbstruck. They looked at Qin Yun slowly retracting his fist in a daze. They looked at the Nether Immortal Sect Master, who was a great sage, trembling in fear. 9 layers of saint radiance. You are late quintessential saint realm. Nether Immortal Sect Master looked at the 9 layers of saint radiance on Qin Yun's fist. His face turned ashen, and he screamed miserably, "Senior, please spare this lowly one's dog life." 9 layers of saint radiance. Late quintessential saint realm. After knowing Qin Yun's cultivation realm, everyone present was so scared that their hearts almost stopped beating. The surrounding space seemed to have frozen in an instant. Bai Fumei looked at Qin Yun in a daze. Then, she looked at Lu Qingyu. Previously, she had been mocking Lu Qingyu for being a stupid woman and mocking her. But now, she knew how powerful Qin Yun was. Such a young late quintessential saint realm meant that he was about to become a god, let alone the quintessential saint realm. Even the sage realm was out of reach for immortal emperors like them. Otherwise, they wouldn't kneel and lick the Nether Immortal Sect Master's boots. Bai Kunji finally understood why Lu Qingyu looked down on him. It turned out that Lu Qingyu knew a peerless expert who was even stronger and more talented. Third Uncle Lu's face turned ugly. If he knew that Lu Qingyu's big brother Qin was so powerful, he wouldn't have treated Lu Qingyu like that. Rising Dragon Sect Master, Coiling Serpent Palace Master, and Violet Cloud Manor Master felt regret in their hearts. Their faces were very interesting. A late quintessential Saint Realm expert was a peak existence of the Saint Realm. A casual guidance from him might be able to help them break through. But they had misjudged. They schemed and schemed to take control of the altar from Lu Qingyu's hands. But now they realized that the altar is not something they are qualified to possess. Those who left transcending Xianxi City before are now endlessly regretting. They are cursing those great aristocratic families in their hearts. If they knew that transcending Xianxi City was protected by a quintessential Saint Realm expert, they would not have left. But now, what use is there in regretting? Say, Senior, don't. Nether Immortal Sect Master said in trembling voice. Senior Lu, Brother Zhuge, Family Head Duan, Brother Hu, they were all my friends. Qin Yun's voice is ice cold and penetrating to the bone. His words are very clear. Lu Haikong, Zhuge Qingxiong, Duan Family Head, and Hu Nongtian were all his friends, and now they have been killed. The ones who attacked them are precisely Nether Immortal Sect Masters group. Qin Yun's 2 fingers joined together and pointed at Nether Immortal Sect Master. Heaven Extinguishing Finger power erupted. Boom! Heaven Extinguishing Finger shot out a frantic saint power and landed on Nether Immortal Sect Master's body. After the explosion sound, Nether Immortal Sect Master's body turned into ashes. Great Sage Realm experts are unreachable to Rising Dragon Sect Master and the others, but they were killed in one move. Senior, please spare our lives. Those few Nether Immortal Sect elders promptly begged for mercy. Qin Yun did not say a word. His expression became cold, and supergravity suddenly rushed out. The supergravity enveloped them, and they felt the gravity impact from all directions. 4 Saint Realm elders of Nether Immortal Sect felt as if their bodies are being pressed down by transparent walls coming from all directions. In the blink of an eye, their bodies have been pressed down to the size of palm-sized bricks. Seeing this scene, everyone felt their hair stand on end. Saint Realm elders have been pressed into bricks by formidable power in the blink of an eye. This kind of power is simply unheard of. Even Lu Qingyu is so scared that her heart is jumping crazily. This is the power of late-stage quintessential saint realm. It can easily crush any great sage. Qin Yun waved his hand and took back the 9 altars. He said coldly, "These altars come from the divine wilderness. Even powerful deities are unable to control them. You people are as weak as ants, yet you want to seize them." Feeling Qin Yun's threatening, killing intent, Rising Dragon Sect Master and the other big shots begged for mercy. As Qin Yun spoke, a vast and mighty supergravity surged out and then pressed down on the ground majestically. The hundreds of thousands of armored wolf riders on the ground were immediately pressed into the ground, and their bodies were crushed. Rising Dragon Sect Master and the others were also pressed down by the supergravity. After they fell to the ground, they screamed miserably. The bones in their bodies emitted cracking sounds. Fortunately, they are immortal emperors. Otherwise, they would have been crushed into mud like those hundreds of thousands of wolf riders. The powerful hundreds of thousands of wolf riders are incomparably terrifying. When they arrived, their aura was so frightening. But now, those armored and huge gray wolves have been crushed into meat paste. Their bodies melted into the mud and turned into mud. Those hundreds of thousands of wolf riders have not died, but they are even more miserable than death. Qin Yun floated in the sky and said in cold voice, "The energy here is not gathered from the altars. Rather, it is from the underground energy source. Back then, to maintain the operation of Floating Cloud City, I specially found a place with energy source." After he finished speaking, the earth suddenly trembled. The altar that was originally placed on the ground suddenly bulged up, and a light blue energy source floated up. It looks like a large amount of light blue, glowing, clear spring water has converged together. Third Uncle Lu and the others vomited blood due to the supergravity and suffered serious injuries. Now that they can see the true energy source of transcending Xianxi City, they vomited blood again. Even if the altar was taken away, it wouldn't affect them at all. The true energy source of transcending Xianxi City is actually underground, but they don't know about it. Originally, this was left for transcending Xianxi City, but you are not worthy of it, Qin Yin said with sneer and took away the energy source. Everyone felt bitter and hateful looking at this scene. At this time, Lu Qingyu's body suddenly overflowed with a burst of golden light. Frantic dragon power violently rushed out. "Big Brother Qin, the power you poured into my body is reacting. I am about to break through." Lu Qingyu suddenly yelled in pleasant surprise. Just as she finished speaking, golden light rushed out of her body. The sacred power released from her body has 3 layers of sacred radiance lingering around it. "Qingyu, you have broken through. Moreover, you have directly entered late-stage saint realm. In a few days, you will become great sage," Qin Yin said with smile. Seeing this scene, Bai Fumei and the other young elites are extremely jealous. They are feeling extremely regretful in their hearts. It hasn't been long since Lu Qingyu met this big brother Qin, and she has already transformed into a saint. Moreover, she has directly entered late-stage saint realm. What they find most difficult to accept is that in a few days, Lu Qingyu will become great sage. Chapter 2084. Qingyu, I have already avenged Elder Lu and the others. Let's find a place to properly pay our respects to them. Qin Yun pulled Lu Qingyu's hand, released the heaven-leaping shuttle, and entered it. The heaven-leaping shuttle flew away in a blink of an eye. Looking at the direction where the heaven-leaping shuttle disappeared, everyone's mood is very complicated. They have lost a great opportunity to become stronger, especially third Uncle Lu and the others. They are the most regretful, because they can see that Qin Yun is a very easy person to talk to. If he was a little bit nicer to him and helped them, they would have become saints. Especially Bai Fumei. She always thought that Lu Shaoke was outstanding enough. She also felt that her brother Bai Kunji was an outstanding man, enough to match Lu Qingyu. But after seeing Qin Yun, she realized that in Qin Yun's eyes, they are not people at all. They recalled that Lu Qingyu said before that Qin Yun is a person that Venerable Master Zhuge respects and has a good relationship with Lu Haikong. But they did not believe it. Now they believe it and also regret it. The heaven-leaping shuttle is flying in the air. Lu Qingyu tightly held Qin Yun's hand and said in low voice, "Big brother Qin, thank you. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to take revenge. Elder Lu and the others are also my friends. Don't worry, they died in the Nine Nether Realm. Their souls have a place to go. If there is no accident, the person who receives their souls will be my friend." Qin Yun patted Lu Qingyu's hand. "Big brother Qin, you are really awesome. You have such powerful friends in the Nine Nether Realm. Moreover, you are a late-stage heavenly sage." Lu Qingyu looked at Qin Yun with incomparable worship. Qin Yun looked ahead and said, "I came to the Nine Nether Realm to take the altar. I did not expect that such a thing would happen. Now that the matter has been resolved, I will go to the sacred desolate. Are you coming with me?" Lu Qingyu promptly nodded. "Big brother Qin, you must bring me along." "All right," Qin Yun said with smile. He plans to help Lu Qingyu enter late-stage heavenly sage realm and then help her become a deity. This way, she can directly enter the divine desolate. The heaven-leaping shuttle is flying at high speed towards the seabed treasure domain. Qin Yun originally wanted to stay in the Nine Nether Realm for a few more days, but he remembered that he still has important matters to attend to in the sacred desolate. The sky was dark. There were no stars or moons in the Nine Underworld, so it was very dark at night. While the Skyleap shuttle was flying at high speed, it was suddenly stopped by a powerful and mysterious force. Qin Yun immediately became vigilant. In the Nine Underworld, people who could keep up with the Sky-leaping shuttle speed were definitely very strong. "Big brother Qin, what's wrong?" Lu Qingyu also sensed something. "Nothing. I will go out and take a look." Qin Yun immediately went out and arrived outside the Sky-leaping shuttle. After he went out, he sensed that someone was nearby, and that person was hidden in a ball of energy. Suddenly, something shot out at high speed. It was a black claw that was connected to a chain. It was a hook. The claw's speed was very fast and very strange. It grabbed Qin Yun's arm in an instant. The hook claw grabbed Qin Yun and tried to drag him over. However, it did not succeed because Qin Yun was not someone to be trifled with. "Foster father, don't be mischievous," Qin Yun said with a smile. "This kind of wretched weapon is clearly yours." A white-haired old man wearing a black robe slowly floated over. He laughed and said, "Little Fu Yun, you have already recovered your memories as the Hall King, yet you still call me foster father. I seem to have taken a great advantage of you." "Qin Long is also my father," Qin Yun said with a smile. "I am a person who came out of my mother's womb. I am not like those previous lives whose origin is unknown." "That's right, you are more like a person like this." Netherworld Great Emperor nodded and said with a smile, "Is Bossia with you? Did he not come?" Qin Yun asked. "No, he has many things to do. After all, he wants to become the overlord of the Nine Nether Realm. He is not like you who flirts with girls all day long." Netherworld Great Emperor said with mischievous smile. Qin Yun said with stern expression, "Foster father, is Boss Xie really going to inherit the position of Nine Nether Overlord? What about you?" "Me? I'm selling my body to pave for the heavenly Tao," Netherworld Great Emperor said with sigh. "Your foster father is now just a heavenly servant. Yunlong is now in charge of the heavenly Tao pawn shop. I haven't seen him for a long time." Qin Yun also knows that Netherworld Great Emperor paid a great price to save Xie Wufeng. That old scoundrel Yunlong is busy swindling people all day long. It is not easy to see him. Netherworld Great Emperor said with mischievous smile. "Then foster father, what do you mainly do in the heavenly Tao pawn shop?" Qin Yun is rather curious. "Well, I just swindle and seduce some people to sell their bodies to the heavenly Tao pawn shop." Netherworld Great Emperor curled his lips and said, "It feels like a brothel keeper." Qin Yun cannot help but laugh and said, "The former overlord of the Nine Nether Realm is actually doing this kind of thing." Netherworld Great Emperor laughed at himself and said, "What can I do? Then again, I'm only temporarily down and out. You Nanyang Palace King, weren't you also very down and out in the immortal desolate? Foster father, what kind of threat is the Nine Nether Realm facing? Qin asked. I don't know much about the Nine Nether Realm. Netherworld Great Emperor's expression became grave as he shook his head. At the center of the Nine Nether Realm, there are 10 primal chaos divine sons. I remember you once said that you encountered a group of very dreadful people in the ancient desolate. Primal chaos race. Qin Yun's expression changed as he said, Primal chaos race also appeared in the Nine Nether Realm. You also know that those people are primal chaos race? Netherworld Great Emperor said, You are very well informed. What is the situation of those people in the Nine Nether Realm? Qin Yun asked. Very powerful existences. They turned the center of the Nine Nether Realm upside down. Those primal chaos divine sons devoured a large number of souls and then created the bodies of primal chaos race people or primal chaos beasts. Netherworld Great Emperor said, I have a few friends. They were killed in the Nine Nether Realm. Will their souls fall into the hands of primal chaos race? Qin Yun told Netherworld Great Emperor about Lu Haikong and the others. If it is only the souls of immortals and saints, those guys won't care. They are still under the control of Nether Sect. I will go back and inform Shao Xia to take good care of your friends. Netherworld Great Emperor said, Father, will Boss Xia stay in the Nine Nether Realm from now on? Qin Yun asked, Not necessarily. In short, the Nine Nether Realm will be connected to the divine space in the future. Netherworld Great Emperor's expression suddenly became grave as he said again, That old traitor Yunlong told me that the situation in the ancient desolate is becoming more and more complicated. The primal chaos race there is very strong. They can create primal chaos divine sons. They need a lot of primal chaos bee souls to expand the primal chaos race. Qin Yun said in amazement, Could it be that the primal chaos divine sons in the Nine Nether Realm were created by them? Netherworld Great Emperor nodded and said, The possibility is very high. In short, it is better to become stronger. Sooner or later, the primal chaos race will break through the space restriction and dominate all the worlds. No matter what, I must ensure the stability of the Nine-Sun Heavenly Domain. When the Nine-Sun Heavenly Domain reappears, it will become even stronger. Qin Yun is very confident. If that is the case, remember to help me redeem my freedom. This way, I can go back and get a good job. Netherworld Great Emperor said with smile. All right, Qin Yun said, Foster father, I am preparing to go to Sacred Desolate. I can go from Seafloor Treasure Domain. Going from Seafloor Treasure Domain to Sacred Desolate is very troublesome. Furthermore, didn't Sacred Desolate suffer extermination? Netherworld Great Emperor said. What? That sun fell? Qin Yun said in amazement. In the past few days, Immortal Desolate and Sacred Desolate have turned into a sea of flames. Netherworld Great Emperor said, Do you still want to go to Sacred Desolate? Qin Yun thought for a bit and said, I will go and take a look. Those flames shouldn't be able to burn me. Then do as you wish. When you go to Seafloor Treasure Domain, the space will sense you and send you to Sacred Desolate. Netherworld Great Emperor said, Foster father, goodbye. Qin Yun said with smile. Take care. Netherworld Great Emperor nodded and said with smile. Qin Yun returned to the sky leaping shuttle and continued rushing towards Seafloor Treasure Domain. Lu Qingyu is very curious about who Qin Yun met outside. Qin Yun said that it is his foster father and also told her that Lu Haikong and other souls will receive special care. Lu Qingyu is very happy after hearing this. The sadness in her heart also lessened by a lot. Ling Yuner said, Shao Yun, you're going to Sacred Desolate to borrow the sun flame to modify the sun altar, right? Moreover, I want to refine some things and make sufficient preparations. After entering Divine Desolate, I will have enough power. Qin Yun said, although he has been reborn many times, he has never deeply felt how strong the sun is. The sun fell into Great Desolate. It must have left behind many good things. However, without sufficient strength, it is impossible to walk in the scorching Great Desolate. Qin feels that he can do it, so he wants to go to Sacred Desolate to see if the sun brought any good materials after it fell. Inscription Divine Mountain and Mother Moon are in that sun-holy land. If they become gods there, they can directly enter Divine Desolate. Qin said, I don't know if Mother Moon will appear in Divine Desolate or not. If so, it will definitely cause a great commotion. After flying for several days, Qin finally arrived at Seafloor Treasure Domain. Lu Qingyu was also placed inside the Nine-Sun Divine Soul. Qin just arrived at Seafloor Treasure Domain and was sucked into sacred space. When he entered the sacred space, he was tormented and his body was attacked by a very strong power. Fortunately, he is a late-stage Heavenly Sage realm expert. His body has already been cultivated into a formidable divine body. Furthermore, he used Heavenly Firm Dao Technique and Heavenly Might Tyrant Body to protect himself, so he was not tortured very painfully. After passing through several layers of space, he finally arrived at Sacred Space and appeared in Sacred Desolate. Just as he arrived at Sacred Desolate, he felt incomparably hot. His skin was immediately burnt black. Just as Qin arrived at Sacred Desolate, he was burnt to a crisp. He wore the purple-gold heavenly armor, but it was unable to block that dreadful flame. Chapter 2085. Qin did not expect that after the Sacred Desolate was exterminated by the sun, the environment would be so vile. It is much worse than what he imagined. This was especially true for the incomparably scorching fire liquid here. The rising heat was like an incomparably violent flame. If he were to fall into the fire liquid, the consequences would be unimaginable. Fortunately, the floating cloud pagoda used to be the Nine-Sun heaven-raising pagoda. It is something refined inside the sun, so it is not afraid of this kind of fire liquid. Qin looked at the sea of fire liquid outside through the transparent walls of the floating cloud pagoda. When the golden-red fire liquid is boiling, a terrifying flame will rise up. Qin was burned by that flame, and his skin became char-black. Fortunately, when he came over, he was well prepared, so he could barely hold on. Even if his body was very strong, if he didn't use all kinds of techniques to protect his body, he would definitely be injured more seriously. Those flames are good for refining weapons. It's a pity that my current strength is not enough to control the fire liquid. Qin looked at the fire liquid, and many thoughts of refining emerged in his mind. He wanted to break through here and head to the divine wilderness. Before entering the divine wasteland, if he had made sufficient preparations, he would have enough confidence to face the natural law divine realm after arriving there. Lu Qingyu was also released from the Nine-Sun Divine Soul. She said she wanted to see what the Sacred Desolate is like. When she came out, she saw that Qin was covered in burns. She felt her heart ache. Although this kind of injury was painful, it was nothing to Qin. Back then, when he was captured and tortured by the natural law divine realm, burns were a common occurrence. Qin released the Nine Dragons Heavenly Origins Array and cultivated with Lu Qingyu inside the array. Lu Qingyu's cultivation was relatively simple, so she broke through faster. As for Qin, he was different. He had a very solid foundation. He needed to cultivate all aspects to the extreme before he could break through. It would also take a relatively long time. For example, he needed to restore his 9 souls and 9 spirits. He just needed to restore them to the level of a god. Next was the body. He had to cultivate a powerful divine body and transform his 9 solar sacred meridians into 9 solar divine meridians. As long as he could do these 3 things, he would basically be sensed by the god-level space and be sucked into it. As for the so-called demigod, they had to achieve 2 of these points. For example, having a divine soul and divine body, or cultivating divine veins and divine body. Everyone's cultivation method was different, and so was the area they should focus on first. Qin Yun's situation was rather complicated. His 9 souls and 9 spirits were originally very powerful divine-level souls. However, after being sealed in the Heavenly Tao pawn shop for many years, it had deteriorated greatly. Now, all he needed to do was recover his divine-level soul. His body could be said to be very strong, but his flesh and bones did not produce God power, so it was not a complete God body. Of course, with his current physical body, he was comparable to an ordinary true God. This was mainly because he cultivated the 9 Extinction Heart Sutra. The 9 Extinction Heart Sutra had the 9 Extinction Divine Body, and what he cultivated was also the 9 Extinction Holy Body. Coupled with the Heaven's Might Tao technique, he could release a very powerful Heaven's Might Tyrant Body barrier. The 9 Ultimate Divine Physique is not complete yet. You need to refine your divine body, divine soul, and divine spirit before you can start to nurture your Saint Meridians and turn them into divine beings. While Qin Yin was recuperating, he looked inside his body. There's no rush. Take your time. Ling Yin'er said, although the sacred desolate has become like this, I feel that this might be the place to cultivate the super strong 9 Extinction Divine Body. Qin Yin nodded and said, yes, but there will be a lot of trouble. Ling Yin'er said with a smile, Xiao Yun, when you were your strongest, you were the 9 Yang Palace King, but at that time, you couldn't even defeat those fellows from the primal chaos race. If you want to become stronger than you were back then in this life, you have to pay a price. That's true, Qin Yun said with a smile. Wait until I'm healed. I'll start cultivating. After I become stronger, I'll be able to modify the altar. Of those altars, 3 of them are rather ancient, and the other 6 have been modified by the Heavenly Law Divine Domain. He did not like the altar that had been modified by the Heavenly Law Divine Domain, so he still had to make some changes. What made him feel even more regretful is that he still hasn't found the 9 Divine Universe Dragon Pearls. Otherwise, he would be able to set up an even stronger Divine Universe 9 Dragons formation. The 9 Dragons Heavenly Origin formation is very strong. If the 9 Dragon Rune Heavenly Sabers that formed the 9 Dragons Heavenly Origin formation were placed in the Divine Desolate, they would not be enough. Therefore, Qin Yin planned to strengthen the Dragon Rune Heavenly Saber and then fuse it with the 9 altars. This is a very difficult matter, but Qin Yin is confident that he can complete it. This is also a huge challenge for him. If he could complete it, his level of inscription would rise by a huge realm. Qin Yin absorbed the power of the 9 Dragon Divine Universe to heal his injuries and recovered extremely quickly. In just 2 days, he had completely recovered. Are we going to go out directly? Qin Yin looked outside through the transparent wall. Gold and red light flickered outside, and waves of heat surged violently. Big brother Qin, you want to go out? Lu Qingyu said in surprise. You'll get injured. Qin Yin wanted to use the fire liquid to cultivate, but he also knew that not long after he left, he would definitely be injured. When he was wearing the purple gold heavenly armor, he was unable to withstand the scorching energy, let alone soaking in the fire liquid. No, I just want to use the heavenly sun fire liquid to temper my body, Qin Yin said with a smile. It's too dangerous. Lu Qingyu could feel the terror of the flame from inside the floating cloud pagoda. That kind of flame carried a very berserk aura. Qin Yin thought for a moment and suddenly thought of something. It was the small black bottle that contained the holy oil. He took out the small bottle and looked at it carefully. Xiao Yin, what exactly is this small bottle? With your experience as the Nanyang Palace King, you should know, right? Ling Yin'er said, I really don't know how this small bottle was formed. In short, it's very ancient, and it's also a very powerful storage magic tool. Qin Yin carefully observed the runes on it and said, the material used to refine it is very special. I can't tell what kind of material it is. Ling Yin'er knew what Qin Yin wanted to do. Qin Yin definitely wanted to store a large amount of fire liquid inside the small bottle. The holy oil was good in the sacred desolate, but it might not be the same in the divine desolate. However, Qin Yin was worried that he would damage the small bottle. At that time, the gains would not make up for the losses. Just as he was hesitating, Imo Imo softly shouted from the Nine Yang divine soul. Big brother, Sister Yang Yang is awake. Qin Yun was alarmed. Yang Yang should have been asleep for a long time. Only by using the core crystal mother could she wake up temporarily. Yang Yang suddenly woke up at this time. It was most likely because of the environment here. Qin Yun immediately released Yang Yang. The ninth heaven Shin Sparrow is a sun spirit. Currently, she looks like a very beautiful little bird. Sometimes, she would also turn into a very cute little girl. After Yang Yang came out, she turned into a little girl carved from jade. With a very happy expression, she rushed towards the door of the floating cloud pagoda. Little girl, where are you going? Qin Yun quickly went over and picked her up. Big brother, I want to go out and play. Yang Yang shouted. What a cute little girl. Lu Qingyu saw the little girl in red dress and liked her very much. She walked over and touched Yang Yang's face. This little girl who looks a few years old is actually a sun spirit and a divine beast. Lu Qingyu did not know this. It's very dangerous outside, Qin Yun said with a frown and then told her about how he was burned. Big brother, you are too weak. I'm not as weak as you. Yang Yang's voice is very sweet. She giggled and said, Big brother, I'm going out to play. It can make me stronger. Really? But I'm afraid that you'll be injured. When Qin Yun saw such a cute little girl, he could not bear to let her run into such a dangerous sea of fire liquid. Little sister, it's really hot and dangerous outside. Lu Qingyu advised. Big brother, I'm going to evolve. After I evolve, I'll become even stronger. Maybe I won't have to sleep often in the future. Yang Yang mumbled. I'm really not afraid of the fire liquid. To me, it's like warm water. The corner of Qin Yun's mouth twitched. Thinking that Yang Yang was formed from sun spirit, he let her out. Lu Qingyu watched worriedly. After Yang Yang went out, she turned into a little bird with 9 beautiful tail feathers. She was like a duckling happily swimming around in the fire liquid. Sometimes she even drilled into the fire liquid. Big brother, do you want to come down and play with me? I'm so bored playing by myself. When Yang Yang's voice came, she turned into a little girl again. Qin Yun laughed dryly. You play by yourself. If I go down, I'll be using my life to play. I can't afford to play. He found it funny. This little thing, Yang Yang, was actually deliberately teasing him. She clearly knew that he wasn't strong enough, yet she still let him go out to play. Yang Yang laughed happily. Big brother, I will become stronger here. I want to protect you. Help me get a little fire liquid. There's no need for too much. Just a little is enough. Qin Yun suddenly said. All right. Yang Yang immediately flew back to the floating cloud pagoda. After returning, she spread out her small hands and spat out a small mouthful of fire liquid from her mouth. Seeing this scene, Qin Yun and Lu Qingyu were stunned. They were very close to the fire liquid and knew how hot it was. However, Yang Yang could actually drink this kind of fire liquid. Qin Yun immediately used the small black bottle to store the fire liquid in Yang Yang's palm. After careful inspection, he found that the small bottle could withstand the fire liquid. Yang Yang, help me fill this small bottle. You can play while you fill it. After Qin Yun finished speaking, he said, I have some divine dragon meat and divine fruits here. You can go play after you're full. You'll be happier. All right. When Yang Yang heard that there was food, she immediately smiled sweetly. Qin Yun could not help but pinch her cute little face. Yang Yang ate a lot of divine dragon meat and divine fruits. Then, she took Qin Yun's small bottle and eagerly jumped into the sea of fire liquid. Chapter 2086. Lu Qingyu looked at Yang Yang outside and was still very worried. She said, Brother Qin, there shouldn't be any other dangerous things here, right? I'm worried that Yang Yang will be attacked by other powerful beings. I'm not afraid. Yang Yang's strength is not weak. Qin Yun said with a smile. If there is any danger, she will run back immediately. Afterward, he reminded Yang Yang, who was playing in the fiery liquid ocean. After hearing this, Yang Yang nodded obediently and said, Don't worry, big brother. If I meet someone I can't beat, I'll definitely hide. Yang Yang, who was playing in the sea of fire liquid, absorbed the energy within the fire liquid, which was very rich in sun energy. Only the sun soul within the sun could easily absorb this kind of fire liquid. Yang Yang, if I hand over the 9-sun divine hammer and heaven-trampling divine boots to you, it won't be a problem, right? Qin Yun asked. Sure, let me play. Yang Yang laughed. Qin Yun took out the 9-sun divine hammer and heaven-trampling divine boots and handed them to Yang Yang. He told her to soak the 2-sun soul divine tools in the fire liquid. The 9-sun divine hammer and the heaven-trampling divine boots were in a state of hibernation. As Qin Yun's strength grew stronger and stronger, the energy stored in the mother crystal core could not be maintained for long before it ran out. Qin Yun could only think of another way to allow him to use the 2 divine tools for a long period of time. They are extremely powerful items. Yang Yang could easily control the 9-sun divine hammer and heaven-treading god boots. Floating around in the fire liquid was a very fun thing for her. Lu Qingyu sat by the wall, absorbing the energy of the 9 dragons' heavenly origin array while keeping an eye on Yang Yang. She also told Yang Yang not to go too far. She knew that Yang Yang was very strong, but she was very worried about this cute little girl. She was very worried that something would happen to Yang Yang. Qin Yun took out the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron and got Yang Yang to help him store some sun flame liquid. The sun flame liquid inside the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron was very hot, but the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron could withstand it. After storing a bit of solar flame liquid, Qin Yun placed the heavenly lion dragon suppression cauldron in the middle of the array. Lu Qingyu, on the other hand, went to another level to refine the absorbed energy. This time, when Qin Yun used the fire liquid to cultivate, it would not affect Lu Qingyu. Qin Yun did not know what would happen if he used the solar flame liquid to cultivate. However, he had a powerful body. Even if he encountered any accidents, he would be able to deal with them. The 9 dragons' heavenly origin array absorbed the solar flame liquid within the cauldron. Combined with the energy within the divine universe metal stone, it automatically refined an extremely scorching 9-colored energy. Qin Yun's 9-sun sacred veins can sense those 9 types of burning hot energy and quickly absorb them into his body. After the energy entered Qin Yun's body, he let out a low roar. Amazing! Although Qin Yun felt a burning pain in his body, he was extremely surprised. That's because the extreme yang fire liquid combined with the divine cosmos power produced very good results. Using this kind of energy to temper my body, I will be able to cultivate a very strong 9 ultimate divine body very quickly. Qin Yun said in his heart, maybe even 9 sun sacred veins will be refined into divine veins. This is simply killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This cultivation method did not strengthen the soul. Qin Yun was in no hurry to cultivate his soul. Although his soul was still relatively weak, it was still very powerful compared to many powerful quintessential saints. Ling Yuner said, Xiao Yun, you have the nether moon. It's only a matter of time before your soul becomes strong. It's best for you to cultivate a strong body and soak in the sun flame liquid to cultivate. Only then will you be able to be reborn even faster. If his body had just become a divine body, it would still be insufficient for Qin Yun. He needed a stronger body to be able to penetrate the barrier of the divine level space. Yang Yang soaked in the sun flame liquid and grew very quickly. The 9-sun divine hammer and heaven-trampling divine boots soaked in the sun flame liquid have awakened and become very powerful. Great, as long as I have enough sun divine liquid in the future to soak my sun soul, I won't need to rely on the core crystal mother. Qin Yun looked at the divine hammer and divine boots that Yang Yang gave him and said with a smile. Yang Yang has been holding the small bottle and helping Qin Yun fill it with sun flame liquid. It has already filled a lot, but is still not full. The small bottle is like a bottomless pit. The space inside is astonishingly large. Even Qin Yun doesn't know how big the space inside is because with his current mental power, he can't see how big the space inside is. The sun flame liquid is very useful. If it was used to refine artillery shells, its power would definitely be extremely strong. He also needs to cultivate now. Otherwise, They could try using the pill transformation heavenly furnace to refine the fire liquid into artillery shells. That kind of power would definitely be very violent. Qingyun felt excited just thinking about it. This sun flame liquid is even stronger than the star flame divine liquid that the star god gave him. There aren't many star flame divine liquid. It was obtained with great difficulty by the star god. Even in the divine desolate, it is a very precious material. And the sun flame liquid here can be said to be inexhaustible. Qin Yun stored the 9-sun divine hammer and heaven-trampling divine boots. Yang Yang felt that there's nothing to play with, and suddenly felt very bored. Qin Yun thought for a moment and decided to take out the Divine Universe Fire Dragon Pearl and Divine Universe Ice Dragon Pearl for Yang Yang to play with. The Divine Universe Fire Dragon Pearl absorbed the energy of the Sun Flame liquid. It also helped to strengthen it. The Divine Universe Ice Dragon Pearl is even more strange. It likes to absorb scorching energy, and the more it absorbs, the stronger it becomes. These two dragon pearls are rather ancient, and a lot of energy has been lost. Soaking in the sun flame liquid can help to strengthen it. Yang Yang is a very curious little girl. Whatever is in her hands, she can play with it to her heart's content. The two Divine Universe Dragon Pearls were made bigger by her, and then she jumped around on top of them. Qin Yun took out the Divine Universe Devil Dragon Pearl and Divine Universe Evil Dragon Pearl and gave them to Yang Yang to play with. He asked her to help purify the tyrannical energy inside them. After purification, they became two pure energy dragon pearls. Yang Yang has nothing to do, so she is very willing to help Qin Yun. The spirit formation stage is rather difficult for Qin Yun. It requires a lot of time. Fortunately, he is very safe here. Moreover, he has enough energy to absorb, so cultivation is not too boring. While he is cultivating and enduring the pain, he is also deducing the operation and combination of runes in his mind. This allows him to become more familiar with runes. Especially now that he wants to transform those altars, he will need to use many profound rune combinations. He has mastered the Tao Evolution Sun rune, as well as a very profound rune like the Sun Dragon Totem. This will be of great help to him in transforming the altars. Those 9 altars were created by the 9 suns, and they are very ancient. Although the runes inside are very profound Tao Evolution Sun runes, Qin Yun is still not strong enough. He needs to use the even stronger Sun Dragon Totem. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed by. Qin Yun spent 3 years to finally cultivate the 9 extinction divine body. Although he has just cultivated it, it is a very powerful divine body in the divine desolate. His 9 sun sacred veins have been tempered for 3 years and successfully evolved into 9 sun divine veins. Yang Yang looks like a little girl, but after she transformed into a big 9th heaven Xian sparrow, her strength has become even stronger. Furthermore, she helped Qin Yun cultivate the 4 divine universe dragon pearls and became very strong, causing Qin Yun to be very satisfied. Big brother, this small bottle of yours looks very small, but the inside is very big. It can't be filled no matter what. Yang Yang looked at the small bottle and softly mumbled. She's been hanging the small bottle on her body and soaking it in the sun flame liquid, controlling the small bottle to crazily absorb the flame liquid. 3 years have passed, but the small bottle is still not full. Then let's continue, Qin Yun said with a smile. In these 3 years, Yang Yang often went to Floating Cloud Pagoda to eat and drink with Qin Yun, or returned to the 9 Sun Divine Soul to play with Mo, Little Jade Rabbit, Spirit Creation Heavenly Cauldron, and Little Ant Queen. Lu Qingyu is very fond of this cute little girl Yang Yang. She treats her like her own little sister. Yang Yang is also very good to Lu Qingyu. She even helped her cultivate Divine Body. Lu Qingyu cultivated Dragon Divine Body. Her soul is also a God-level soul. It is just that her sacred veins have not yet cultivated divine veins. With Divine Body, she is no longer afraid of the scorching power released by the sun flame liquid, but she is still unable to touch it. From time to time, she would spar with Yang Yang, who has transformed into a 9th heaven Xian sparrow to increase her combat experience. Qin Yun has divine body and divine veins, but his soul has not recovered to God level. Qin Yun, who has cultivated the 9 extinction divine body, has no problem soaking in the sun flame liquid. The most amazing thing is that the heavenly might tyrant body barrier he released allows him to submerge in the sun flame liquid without burning his clothes. However, the time he can sustain it is limited. It is not very long. Qingyu, we are only one step away from becoming gods. Qin Yun said, you will definitely break through faster than me. Before that, I will help you prepare the equipment you need to enter the Divine Desolate. Big Brother Qin, can't we go to the Divine Desolate together? Lu Qingyu said with some melancholy. She really wanted to be with Qin Yun. Qin Yun shook his head and told Lu Qingyu about cursing the heavenly punishment. It would be very difficult for him to enter the Divine Desolate. If he went alone, it would be much easier. Lu Qingyu already has the purple gold heavenly armor and the purple gold divine universe sword. Qin Yun only needed to refine some divine talismans, divine talisman tools, and teleportation treasures for her. She would have enough power to protect herself in the Divine Desolate. In the Divine Desolate, Qin Yun has many acquaintances, such as the Spatial God, Star God, Lu Yushuyin's clone, and Tree Goddess. If the Divine Inscription Divine Mountain and the Divine Universe Ice Dragon went to the Divine Desolate, it would be even better. As for whether the Mother Moon went or not, Qin Yun still does not know. However, he felt that the Mother Moon should evolve into the Primal Chaos Divine Moon. The women in the Guanghan Palace would definitely advance by leaps and bounds because of this. The space in the Divine Desolate has changed. The spatial runes that Qin Yun mastered before are useless. Fortunately, he has the Little Ant Queen. He can use the Little Ant Queen's spatial power to refine a teleportation magic tool. Chapter 2087. Qin Yun refined so many things mainly to practice. When he was the king of gods, he could refine divine weapons and divine talismans. Now, he was just familiarizing himself with it. In his life, he has grasped many inscription spirits, so he is able to carve runes very quickly. Forget about the king of gods. Even the king of the Nine-Yang Palace could not compare to the current him. Big Brother Qin, my sacred veins have yet to transform into divine veins. I can still accompany you for a while. Lu Qingyu is really reluctant to part with Qin Yun. This was mainly because she knew that when Qin Yun stepped into a higher level space, he would encounter a great obstruction. It was extremely likely that he would not be able to enter. If the two worlds were separated, it would mean that they would never be able to meet again. If they were both in the god-level space, it didn't matter even if they didn't see each other for many years because they could still meet again in the future. I will soon be able to help you cultivate divine veins, Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. I have discovered this secret technique for many years, but I have never tried it. Lu Qingyu smiled and said, Big Brother Qin, do you really wish for me to quickly go to the divine wilderness? The earlier you go, the stronger you will become. Qin Yun spoke and took out many divine flame leaves. The star god had given him those divine flame leaves. There were many of these divine flame leaves in the divine wilderness. At most, they could only produce a very strong flame. No one knew the specific effects. However, Qin Yun knew how to use it. He needed to coordinate it with the divine universe Goldstone's energy. He placed several dozen divine flame leaves into the pill melting heavenly cauldron. Then, he controlled the 9 dragons' heaven origin formation to circulate, releasing the power of the 9 dragons' divine universe and pouring it into the pill melting heavenly cauldron. Big Brother Qin, what pill are you refining? Lu Qingyu asked. Over the years, she knew that this furnace was very powerful. It could turn anything into a pill. This pill can allow your dragon vein to evolve into a divine dragon vein. Qin Yun said, it's very useful for sacred transformation. Even in the divine wilderness, this pill still has a very strong effect. Really? Can I quickly cultivate a divine vein? Lu Qingyu was still a little excited when he thought about how he was going to enter the divine wasteland. Qin Yun nodded and said with a smile, Qingyu, I have many friends in the divine desolate. Go to the divine desolate and find them as soon as possible. And Big Brother Chin is really amazing. He even has so many powerful friends in the divine wasteland. Lu Qingyu laughed. You have powerful friends everywhere. Not long after, the pill transformation heavenly furnace condensed a pill. Lu Qingyu took the pill and asked, if I break through, I will directly enter the divine wasteland, right? If you leave the floating cloud pagoda, you will be absorbed by the god-level space's power. You will need some time to refine this pill. Qin Yun said. Lu Qingyu swallowed the pill and went to another floor to cultivate in seclusion. Yang Yang ran over and shouted, Brother, what pill is that? I want to eat it too. I want to eat it too. It's very bitter, not tasty. Qin Yun pinched her little face. How bitter? I want to suffer. I have never tasted bitterness before. Yang Yang shook Qin Yun's arm and tenderly shouted, Big brother, give me a pill. Qin Yun found it very funny. He could only use the divine flame leaf to refine one for the gluttonous girl. Because he didn't use many divine fire leaves, the pills came out very quickly. Yang Yang very happily took it and said with a smile, Thank you, big brother. After eating the pill, Yang Yang frowned. Then her face wrinkled like a small bitter gourd. It can be seen that the pill was very bitter. This is bitter. It's so unpalatable. Yang Yang said, immediately took out the small bottle and drank the fire liquid inside. Qin Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Because it was too bitter, Yang Yang could only drink the sun flame liquid to relieve the bitterness. Qin Yun can now soak in the sun flame liquid, but he still doesn't dare to drink it. Yang Yang said that the sun flame liquid is very tasty and often let Qin Yun drink it. This little girl said that when she was inside the sun, this kind of sun flame liquid was like a sweet spring to her. Yang Yang continued to jump into the sea of fire liquid to cultivate and play. Sometimes she could sleep in the fire liquid for several days. If I also eat the pill refined from the divine flame leaf, my soul will be able to recover quickly. Qin Yun said, However, now is not the time for me to go to the divine wasteland. I want to use the fire liquid here to modify the 9 altars. Lu Qingyu is still refining the pill. Qin Yun took the opportunity to refine something. It can be considered a very special weapon. Just like a crossbow, it has a trigger. However, what is fired is not a crossbow arrow, but something called a bullet. Back when he was the Nanyang Palace King, he traveled everywhere and once went to a heavenly domain. In that heavenly domain, there was a beautiful blue star. There were many people on that star, and there was a type of firearm called gun. What he is currently refining is a small pistol, and on that blue star, there are all kinds of firearms. Those firearms are very lethal to the local creatures. However, to the Nanyang Palace King back then, hitting his body would only be enough to tickle him. On the other hand, there is something called a nuclear bomb that can blow him up. Of course, the small pistol that Qin Yun is refining now has great power. The small bullets that it shoots out are all refined from fire liquid. After the fire liquid enters the Dan transformation heavenly furnace, it condenses into a small pill, which is the bullet. There are several storage spaces inside the small pistol. It can store many small bullets or fire liquid. It can spit out flames. It can also shoot out bullets or even some poisonous bullets. It has a very good effect when attacking from a long distance or a short distance. This fiery red small pistol was refined by him for Lu Qingyu. Even though it is something for practice, its power is very good. He plans to modify the 9 Heavens Dragon Lion cannon into a small pistol that can be easily shot. This is a kind of sinister weapon. Because the people of the Divine Desolate have never seen a pistol before, they will definitely be defenseless when they see him holding this small thing. If he were to hold a bow or something like that, the other party would be on guard. A few days later, Lu Qingyu refined the pill. The sacred veins in her body have evolved into divine veins. She has become a god. Her later stage of cultivation is through the power of the divine universe. Her body and divine power are very strong. Ordinary gods are not her match at all. Qin Yun handed the small pistol to her and told her how to use it. Lu Qingyu likes this beautiful red pistol very much, and also enjoys the feeling of shooting bullets. Qin Yun has refined several kinds of bullets for her. Some have penetrating power, some can seriously injure the soul, and some will explode after being shot. There are also some that were refined using the Divine Universe Ice Dragon Pearl and can freeze people. Because time is limited, there are not many bullets, but it is enough for Lu Qingyu to counterattack. Big Brother Qin, when you come to the Divine Desolate, you must contact me. Lu Qingyu's eyes are red. Got it. Qin Yun waved at her and said with a smile, I will definitely go to the Divine Desolate. Qin Yun used the little Ant Queen's spatial power to refine a communication talisman for Lu Qingyu. In the future, when Qin Yun goes to the Divine Desolate, he can immediately contact her. Lu Qingyu touched Yang Yang's face and kissed her cute little face. Then she walked out of the floating cloud pagoda. After she left, the space around her body distorted and sucked her into the god-level space. Big Sister Qingyu is gone. I will miss her. Yang Yang is also somewhat reluctant to part with this big sister who has accompanied her for several years. Qin Yun said, Yang Yang, you should have become a god, right? Why don't you go to the Divine Desolate? Yang Yang said with a smile, if I don't want to go, then I don't need to go. If I want to go, I can go. That's great. Qin Yun is secretly envious. Yang Yang is a sun soul divine beast. She is protected by the 9 Desolate. Big brother, I also want to play with those small pistols. Refine one for me. Yang Yang said, all right. Qin Yun took out some wood and made several large and small wooden pistols. These pistols can be filled with water and shot out water. The smallest one is very, very small. It is for Mo, the palm-sized fairy, to play with. It allows them to play around inside the 9 Sun Divine Spirit. Yang Yang has something new to play with. She doesn't cultivate and instead entered the 9 Sun Divine Spirit to fight a gun battle with Mo. She is so engrossed in it that she can't extricate herself. She even said that whoever wins a round can eat a chicken leg or something like that. Qin Yun began his great project of modifying the 9 altars. The reason he modified the altars is so that they can perfectly fuse with the 9 dragon heavenly origin formation. Therefore, he needs to add the sun dragon totem and many other kinds of dragon transformation runes inside the altar. In addition, he wants to melt many divine dragon bones and refine them into the altar to help it become stronger. He still has some divine tier materials in his hands. Back in the buried heaven land, he collected quite a few, but it is still not enough. Helpless, Qin Yun can only call out Yang Yang and accompany him to search for materials in the fire liquid ocean. Yang Yang was originally very unwilling. She is having a great time playing gun battle, but when she heard that Qin Yun wants to refine even more fun things for her, she immediately agreed. Back when he was the 9 Sun Palace King, he traveled to many heavenly regions and saw many strange things. He casually changed them into very fun things, especially for a little girl like Yang Yang who has never seen much of the world. Yang Yang turned into a beautiful divine bird, dragging 9 long 9-colored tail feathers and flying in the sky. Qin Yun is sitting on the back of the divine bird, holding a disc in his hand. It is a tool used to detect divine tier materials. When the sun falls, there will indeed be some remnant divine tier materials. Moreover, they are very good. As long as one can find a little, it will be of great use. After flying for more than 10 days, Yang Yang suddenly said excitedly, there's a dragon. I want to eat it. I want to eat a big dragon. There's actually a dragon here? Qin Yun is also extremely astonished. A dragon that can live in the fire liquid ocean must be very strong. He immediately left Yang Yang's back. Yang Yang now has divine tier strength. Qin Yun does not want to participate. The beautiful divine bird flew in the sky and suddenly drilled into the fire liquid ocean. It's really down there. Qin Yun floated in the air and watched. He held the floating cloud rod in his hand and prepared to sneak attack. The fire liquid ocean suddenly churned. The movement below is extremely great. Roar. Chapter 2088. Qin Long's fire dragon god was still very strong. Otherwise, he would have been injured by Yang Yang long ago. Fortunately, Yang Yang listened to Qin Yun and immediately stopped chasing the fire dragon. She turned into a little girl and floated to Qin Yun's side. The huge fire dragon in the sky was still dripping with a lot of fire liquid, turning into a huge ball of flames. The ball of flames gradually shrank and turned into a tall, handsome middle-aged man wearing a red cloak and golden red armor. The divine totem on Qin Long's face was already gone, and he looked somewhat similar to Qin Yun. When he saw that the divine bird that was chasing him was a little girl, he suddenly started to doubt his life. A little girl who was only a fart could actually be so powerful. You damn brat. When did you get such a powerful thing? Qin Long scolded as he flew over, wanting to reach out his hand to pinch Yang Yang's cute little face. Yang Yang did not let him pinch her. She opened her mouth and spat out flames, forcing Qin Long back. Qin Long chuckled and said, "This little girl, I won't lower myself to her level. I'm a good-tempered person, and I don't like fighting, so I didn't fight with her. Otherwise, she wouldn't be my opponent at all." Yang Yang made a face at Qin Long and said, "Uncle, you were almost eaten by me just now." Qin Yun stroked Yang Yang's head and said, "Luckily you didn't eat him. He is not tasty at all." "Xiao Yun, I didn't expect you to have a sun soul in your hands." Qin Long chuckled and said, "And it's so powerful. Dad, aren't you in the sun's sacred land? How did you appear here?" asked Qin Yun. "I can't stay in that place anymore. I'm going to be bored to death." Qin Long laughed. "That's why I came here to take a look. I've been here for 2 to 3 years. Qin Yun said with a smile, "I have been here for 2 to 3 years. Why didn't I meet you before?" Qin Long looked around at the endless sea of fire liquid and said, "This sacred wasteland is so big, and you and I did not go too far, so naturally we did not meet. I've only been running around recently to see if I can pick up some good stuff. What a coincidence, I also want to pick up some things, that's why I am walking around." Qin Yun said with a smile, "Did you pick up anything?" Qin Long smiled. "No, when the sun falls, with such a strong temperature, almost everything that can be burned has been burned." Qin Yun shook his head and said, "The rest must be very small things." Qin Long laughed and said, "Xiao Yun, in terms of picking up things, you can't compare to me. I've fished up a lot of good materials." "Ah, what are they?" Qin Yun quickly asked, and then took out the floating cloud pagoda. After they entered the floating cloud pagoda, Qin Long began to take out the things he had fished up. They were all fist-sized stones that looked like crystals. They were multicolored and gave off powerful light. "I don't know what these things are. I found them when I went underground." Qin Long said, "My body is big enough. When I get close to the bottom, I can sense a large range." When Qin Yun saw the stones, he was shocked. He quickly picked up a black crystal. Qin Long said, "This stone is the most special. It doesn't have any weight at all, and it's extremely sturdy." This was a gravity god stone. Qin Yun had obtained half a chest of divine universe gold stones from the 9 Yang royal family. The chest he used was refined from gravity divine stones. And this kind of gravity divine stone can only be found in the Nether Sun core. "Xiao Yun, what's wrong?" Qin Long saw Qin Yun's golden face and asked, "Big brother, there are many of these stones inside the sun." Yang Yang said, "In the past, when I was in the sun, when I entered the depths, I saw many of these stones. These are gravity divine stones. Only the Nether Sun core can produce these stones." He looked at the 2 suns in the sky and cannot help but ponder. After the suns fell, they produced gravity divine stones. This means that there's already a Nether Sun core inside. It means that it will become a Nether Sun. He really can't understand why the 9 suns have this kind of change. "What about these stones?" Qin Long asked again. "I still don't know. They might be stones produced when the Nether Sun core exploded. This kind of stone is very rare." Qin Yun said, "To be able to soak in the fire liquid ocean and not melt, it must be a very powerful material." "Xiao Yun, what do you want to refine?" Qin Long asked again. "I am preparing to go to Divine Desolate. If you want to refine something, I will stay for a while and help you find materials." "I want to transform the 9 altars," Qin Yun said. "All right, then I will stay and help you." Qin Long said with a smile, "I met Yin Long before. This guy said that when I go to Divine Desolate, I will be able to see your mother. Really? Qin Yun's face is immediately filled with joy. Qin Long left to help Qin Yun find all kinds of materials. Yang Yang found out that Qin Yun wants to find those beautiful stones. She also drilled into the bottom of the fire liquid ocean and helped find materials. Qin Yun began transforming the altars. Even the fire liquid cannot melt that kind of stone. If Qin Yun wants to melt it, he will have to spend a lot of effort. Fortunately, he has the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. Through this formation and the divine universe golden stone, he can release a strong enough flame to melt that kind of material. Yuner, there are stones inside the sun that can only be created by the great Nether Sunday. Moreover, there are many of them. What does this mean? Qin Yun asked. It means that there's a very big nether sun inside the sun. The sun is creating a nether sun inside the sun. I just don't know how. Ling Yuner also feels that this matter is very strange. She said again, logically speaking, the 9 sons of the 9 suns' heavenly domain are all very small. Moreover, they are repeatedly undergoing nirvana. They're basically not enough to transform. Become nether sun. Qin Yun said, that's strange. Could it be that every time the 9 suns are reborn, they become a lot stronger? There's another possibility that the 9 suns use some kind of secret technique to attract the nether sun and then devour it. Ling Yuner said, nether suns are very difficult to find, and they are all very small. It is very possible that they were devoured by the 9 suns. Qin Yun's expression is solemn as he said, Yuner, I feel that this time the 9 suns' extermination of the world is different from before. Maybe this is the last time, and there will be a great change. Is this your premonition? Ling Yuner said. In this time the 9 suns' extermination of the world is very different from before, especially the heavenly law divine realm's strong intervention, as well as the change in the 9 nether realm. Also, the primal chaos divine sun appeared in the sacred desolate sun sacred land, plus the appearance of the sun seed. The mother moon transformed into the divine moon. All of these phenomena had never happened before the sun had set. The sun altar can become very small. At its smallest, it can be placed in the palm of one's hand. It is as big as a small bowl. The materials used inside the altar are all very top-notch. Now, with the addition of many materials from another sun, it is even more powerful. For more than half a year, Yang Yang and Qin Long have picked up all kinds of rare and precious materials from the nether sun. These materials were all refined by Qin Yun into the 9 altars. In addition, Qin Yun also used those materials to refine a saber, a shield, and a set of armor for Qin Long. The 9 altars are not completely refined. They still need to add and modify the runes inside. The project is very huge. Most of the materials have been used up. Qin Long is only short of soul transformation. He ate the divine pill refined by Qin Yun using the divine flame leaf. After breaking through, he directly entered the god-level space. Next, Qin Yun began carving runes inside the altar. The altar is like a pyramid, but the top is not pointed. Instead, it is a very flat, small platform. When the altar is created, it is stacked layer by layer. After the altar becomes smaller, it is split up and carved runes on each stone slab. Finally, it is reassembled. Carving runes is not a difficult matter for Qin Yun, especially since he has mastered many kinds of inscription spirits. Coupled with his formidable blood spirit power, carving runes is as smooth as flowing water. Moreover, the needle spirit inside his nether moon allows him to carve runes with twice the result with half the effort. He has to carve many runes. After all, there are 9 altars and each altar has 18 layers to carve. Qin Yun has to carve many kinds of runes: Tao Evolution Rune, Sun Dragon Totem, Divine Tear Star Rune, Divine Tear Moon Rune, Sun Rune, as well as the Nether Sun Totem he mastered not too long ago. These runes and totems have their own uses. They can be combined into different types of energy. After all, the 9 altars will be combined into the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. After combining with the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, its might will be even stronger. There's a dragon rune heavenly saber inside each altar. The dragon rune heavenly saber has also been remodeled. Materials from Nether Sun have been added into it. Just one of them is a very strong divine weapon. After going to Divine Desolate, the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation can only be operated by Divine Universe golden stones to suppress those formidable gods. Qin Yun sighed and said, I must use Divine Universe golden stones sparingly because the more I use them, the less they will be used. This means that he cannot use the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation at will to avoid wasting Divine Universe golden stones. He stored the 9-sun divine hammer, went outside, and looked at the sky. Unknowingly, he has been carving runes by himself for 2 years. I have been in Sacred Desolate for more than 5 years. Qin Yin has already finished remodeling the 9 altars. He waved his hand, and 9 small and exquisite altars emitted faint golden light. They floated around his body and revolved around him. The altars seemed to have changed greatly. Lifelike dragon carvings have been carved on their surface. These dragon carvings are formed by combining many kinds of runes. It was a naturally formed dragon sculpture. It was not something that Qin Yun had intentionally created. 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, open. Qin Yun's expression is grave as he shouted in a deep voice. The 9 small altars spread out in all directions and then suddenly became incomparably huge, like 100,000 feet tall majestic mountain. What is shocking is that on the surface of these mountain-like altars, there is a huge dragon with shocking dragon might revolving around them. It looks as if on the surface of the mountain that is flickering with golden light, there is a dragon swimming around crazily. From time to time, it will release majestic dragon might. Energy will surge and explode. It is like a dragon's angry roar. Tao Evolution Rune, Dragon Transformation Roaming. This should be an extremely high realm of Tao Evolution Rune. Qin Yun looked at the 9 mountain-like altars around him and felt incomparable pride in his heart. Chapter 2089. In these few years in the Sacred Desolate, Yang Yang has not grown up at all. She is still the same as before. Qin Yun also refined many fun things for her, allowing her to have fun with Mo and the other little fairies. Yang Yang suddenly flew out from the bottom of the lava because she could feel the power of the 9 altars. So powerful. Yang Yang jumped back and forth on top of the altar, giggling. Yang Yang, didn't you say that there's something wrong with those 2 suns? I asked you what's wrong, but you said you don't know. Qin Yun asked. Yang Yang frowned slightly as she flew to Qin Yun's side. Qin Yun put away the altar and opened his heavenly eye. He looked at the 2 suns and said, I don't see anything wrong with them. I can't explain it clearly. I just feel that the grandpa suns I'm familiar with are no longer around. Those 2 suns aren't the suns I'm familiar with. Yang Yang said with a sad expression. The grandpa suns are all old. They're all gone. Qin Yun patted Yang Yang's head and said with a smile, Don't be sad. Grandpa Sun will be reborn. Yang Yang shook her head. After my rebirth, I'm the new big brother Sun, not Grandpa's son. The 2 suns in the sky are brother Sun, asked Qin Yun. Yang Yang nodded and said, Yes, Grandpa's son didn't fall, so he's gone. He even became big brother Sun. Qin Yun was alarmed as he thought of something. The 2 suns in the sky most likely wouldn't fall. Something big must have happened. The most bizarre thing was that before the sun even set, it had already transformed into a new one. He could understand what Yang Yang meant when she said that she was no longer Grandpa Sunday. This was because the 9 suns would self-destruct and regenerate, and the Sun Soul and Sun Soul would be reborn. This was unlike Qin Yun's reincarnation, where it was ultimately the same soul. Qin Yun carefully pondered over Yang Yang's words. Based on his years of research on the 9 suns, he muttered softly, Could it be that the 2 suns in the sky suddenly became very strong and didn't need to fall? Yang Yang, is there any difference between the 2 suns? For example, energy? Qin Yun asked. In terms of energy? No, it's still the same as before, but a little stronger. Yang Yang said, Brother, I think those 2 suns are fighting with something. Fight! Qin Yun felt the need to use his heavenly eye to observe the situation around the sun. He took a deep breath and concentrated all of his energy into his heaven eye. The last time he did this, he wanted to see the primal chaos divine sun. It was very difficult to see a primal divine sun day. If there was really a primal divine sun around the two suns, he wouldn't be able to see it with his current strength. Not only him, even many of the gods in the divine wasteland found it difficult to see. Furthermore, if there really was a primal divine sun high up in the sky, it would definitely be impossible to see it due to the interference of the two suns. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye with all his strength. It was possible for him to see things that were difficult to see. He still didn't fully understand the use of the heaven eyes. He only knew that they were left behind by the heavenly Tao before it underwent nirvana. He had obtained it without any rhyme or reason. The two suns in the sky were quite far apart. When Qin Yun looked at the sky, he looked left and right. Suddenly, he saw a gray shadow in the middle of the two suns. He continued to stimulate all kinds of powerful forces within his body, absolute yang energy, mental power, physical strength, all of them focused on the heaven eyes. Because he wanted to see clearly what the gray shadow between the two suns was. He had seen the gray energy before. It was the unique color of primal divine sun. However, he wasn't sure if there was a primal divine sun in the middle of the two suns. After all, the gray energy was not only primal divine Sunday. As Qin Yun gathered even more energy from his body and concentrated it in the heaven eyes, he gradually saw the gray shadow in the middle of the two suns. It is an incomparably huge gray oval-shaped object. It is emitting a lot of gray energy. Under normal circumstances, it would be very difficult to see the gray energy. Qin Yun could only vaguely see it through the heaven eyes. Between the two suns, there is an incomparably huge gray oval-shaped object. That gray oval-shaped object is many times bigger than the two suns. If the two suns were as big as walnuts, then that gray oval-shaped object would be a big watermelon. Is that a primal divine sun? Why is it so big? Qin Yun is filled with fear. The primal divine sun he saw in the sacred desolate was very small. At that time, he thought that it was a bit small. But now that he saw a primal divine sun that was many times bigger than the sun hidden in the sky, his mind suffered a great blow. He suddenly thought of something. Maybe that primal divine sun has always existed, but he could not see it. If Yang did not say that the two suns were fighting with something, Qin Yun would not have thought that there was a primal divine sun in the sky. Big brother, what did you see? Yang pulled Qin Yun's clothes and very curiously asked because she saw that Qin Yun is standing there in a daze. His face is filled with fear. I saw a very dreadful thing, Qin Yun said. He had no choice but to put away his heaven eyes because if he continued to look, his power would be sucked dry. Opening heaven eyes consumes a lot of energy. Qin Yun saw the primal divine sun for a very short time, but he discovered to his amazement that although the two suns are small, they are constantly devouring the energy of the primal divine sun day. Could it be that there is a very small nether sun inside the suns? Nether sun has super strong devouring power. Qin Yun is very familiar with nether sun day. Nether sun's devouring power can be described as ants swallowing an elephant. Although it is very small, it can release devouring power that can dissolve energy and then absorb it into the nether sun to be refined. Even if nether sun devours a lot of energy, it will not become very big. Instead, its devouring power will increase, and the energy stored inside will become even stronger. What the hell is going on? It seems like the change of 9 suns and 9 desolate is so great and fast that no one can predict it. Qin Yun floated above the flame liquid ocean and looked at the two suns together with Yang. Unknowingly, night fell. Fiery red light rushed out from the ground. Qin Yun and Yang are inside the light released by the flame liquid. Qin Yun entered the floating cloud pagoda and began refining pills with the divine flame leaf. So long as he strengthens his soul, he will be able to enter divine desolate. He doesn't know what kind of challenge he will encounter after entering divine desolate. No matter what, he must face it. He can't escape because he must enter divine desolate. Apart from ancient desolate, divine desolate is the highest level of nine desolate, great desolate. Ancient desolate and divine desolate are connected. In other words, entering divine desolate is his last hurdle. So long as he can enter divine desolate, he can reach the highest level space. Pill transformation heavenly furnace will soon produce pills. Qin Yun opened the pill transformation heavenly furnace and took out the pill. Just as he was about to eat it, the little girl Yang Yang came bouncing to his floor. It is late at night. The flames outside soar to the sky. At night, Yang Yang often played outside or counted the stars. It is rather rare for her to run to Qin Yun's side. Big brother, a big moon appeared in the sky. Yang Yang gestured with her hand and said, "A very big and beautiful big moon. I have never seen such a big and beautiful moon." Qin Yun quickly put away the pill and went outside with Yang Yang. For many days, the moon has not appeared in the sky, and now there's a very big moon in the night sky. The moonlight is very gentle and beautiful. In this scorching hot and violent sacred desolate, being illuminated by this kind of moonlight gives one a very comfortable feeling. It is hard to say whether it is warm or cool. Not only is it very comfortable, when looking at the moon, one's mood also becomes a lot better. It is as if one is looking at a very beautiful thing. It is very pleasing to the eye, relaxing and happy. It is a very strange feeling. It comes from the comfort of one's mind. Mother Moon has evolved. Qin Yun stared at the moon, lost in thought for a long time, then let out a long sigh. Just now, he felt as if he was intoxicated by the beautiful moonlight. It made him recall many beautiful memories. A strong and beautiful happiness welled up in his heart. This kind of strange feeling is very intoxicating. While his mood is happy, his body is bathed in the moonlight, giving him an indescribable feeling of comfort. Qin Yun also understood why Yang Yang said that it is a very beautiful moon. Is this the primal chaos divine moon? Ling Yun'er asked. I don't know. In short, it is the divine moon. Qin Yun shook his head and said, this kind of moonlight contains a very strong divine power. It can sublimate people's mental power. Such a beautiful moon. How can it not be the primal chaos divine moon? Yang Yang pulled Qin Yun's clothes and said, Big brother, I once landed on the moon. Back then, Qin Yun found Yang Yang's sun soul on the moon, but that was the moon of immortal desolate. Later, the moon of immortal desolate merged with the mother moon. Therefore, Yang Yang also has a special feeling towards the moon. Yang Yang, do you have any feeling toward this moon? Qin Yun asked, because Yang Yang is the sun soul, and the moon and the sun have a very close relationship. Maybe there's some other feeling. This big moon is very powerful. It has a very strong divine power that can make me stronger. Yang Yang said, she is the sun's soul, and the power of the moon is very helpful to the improvement of the soul. After the mother moon evolved, it became more powerful than Qin Yun imagined. He is also very happy from the bottom of his heart because Siekaru and others have obtained the protection of the mother moon. They will definitely be very safe inside the mother moon. Ling Yun'er said, Xiao Yun, try and see if you can contact the mother moon. Qin Yun has mastered many moon runes. Among them, there's a kind of moon rune that can transmit information to the moon. Qin Yun immediately took out a bee skin and entered the floating cloud pagoda. He began carving moon runes and added moon totems. Not long after, the bee skin formation is ready. Qin Yun spread out the bee skin formation and placed it on top of the floating cloud pagoda. He sat in the middle of the formation and released formidable nether moon mental power, fusing it with the formation. After the formation absorbed the moonlight, the runes flickered with multicolored light and began to react. Palace King, an aged but very kind voice entered Qin Yun's mind. Chapter 2090. Yang Yang is also beside Qin Yun. She can also hear the voice. She immediately delicately shouted, Grandma, Grandma, I am Yang Yang. Little girl, You're already so big. Muyu smiled kindly. Grandma, I want to go to the moon to play. How can I get there? Yang Yang asked with a smile. Is there delicious food up there? Yes, yes, yes. When you come to the divine desolate, you can come to Muyu. Muyu laughed. It was obvious that she liked Yang Yang very much. Although the moon that Yang Yang had descended on wasn't the mother moon, the mother moon still had memories of that moon after it merged with the mother moon. Grandma, what's the situation with the mother moon? Has it evolved into the chaos divine moon? No, it's stronger than the chaos divine moon. Even so, I can't hold on much longer. Muyu sighed. Why? Didn't you evolve? Qin Yun said with a frown. Time and tide wait for no man. Muyu smiled and said, I have also lived for many years. I am content. Qin Yun felt very sad in his heart. In his heart, Mother Moon was indeed like his biological grandmother. Thinking of the imminent death of Mother Moon, he felt very melancholic. Is there no way to extend your lifespan? Asked Qin Yun. The one Qin Yun was conversing with was the Mother Moon's soul. No, I've lived long enough, and my mission has been accomplished. I have no more regrets. Muyu said with a smile. Palace King boy, you've contributed a lot to my growth, haven't you? Is that so? Why do I feel like I didn't do anything? Qin Yun carefully thought about it. He did not help Muyu at all. No, you're the key. If it wasn't for you facilitating so many causes and effects, I wouldn't have been able to last until today. And those girls, even more so, wouldn't have been able to gather together to send me on my final journey. Muyu said, Grandma, did I really help you? Back then, I almost killed you. Qin Yun recalled the matter and still felt very guilty. This was because he had once advocated to help the Mother Moon evolve, but at that time, all the conditions were not ripe yet. I'm very grateful to you. Muyu smiled and said, After I leave, there will be a new successor. Those girls will be the heirs of the divine moon of the heavens. Myriad heavens, divine moon? Qin Yun's heart palpitated. The brilliance of the divine moon illuminates the heavens. I will be the only moon in the universe. The mother moon smiled proudly. In the future, I will be seen in the night sky of all the realms. Celestial moon. After the mother moon evolved, it actually became so powerful. Its moonlight pierced through many layers of space and appeared above the myriad worlds, illuminating all living beings. Grandma, do you know my background? After Qin Yun recovered from his astonishment, he thought of many things and asked, I once communicated with Heavenly Eye. I have a family, but I don't know that family. Palace King, your background is very strange. I advise you not to take it to heart. After you leave home, you no longer belong to that family. Now, you have your own true family. They are related to you by blood, and they love you very much. Muyu said. Qin Yun clenched his fists. He felt that Muyu was right. Although he was drifting around, he still had his parents and wife. They would definitely be together in the future. That was his new home. Grandma, I found a very large primal divine sun near the sun. What's going on? Qin Yun recalled this matter. He felt that Muyu should know about this matter. Muyu's voice suddenly turned serious as she said, Young Hall King, the divine world is about to usher in the greatest change in its history. And all of this has been planned by the 9 suns for many years. Great change in the God world, and it's only the divine wilderness? Qin Yun said in alarm. The power of the 9 suns can affect the entire divine level space? The entire divine level space was also known as the divine world, and it included the divine level spaces of other heavens. The ancient 9 suns and I will both come to an end. The world will welcome a transformation, and it will start from the divine realm. The Mother Moon said, The myriad worlds and heavens will gather together. With the divine desolate as the center, they will form a huge wasteland, becoming the divine desolate of all heavens. Qin Yun's jaw dropped. This meant that the 3,000 heavenly regions surrounding the 9 suns' heavenly region would merge with the 9 suns' heavenly region. The 9 suns will transform and fuse together to become the strongest divine sun in history. 9 suns as one. 9 suns illuminate the heavens. Muyu said, Qin Yun had always felt that this mysterious world had many powers fighting behind it. Now it was indeed so. The heavenly Tao will undergo nirvana. The divine sun will be born. The 9 suns will illuminate the myriad worlds. The divine moon will illuminate the heavens. This will be a great unification. And all of this has been led by the 9 suns for many years. The divine sun will become incomparably powerful, and all living beings under the divine sun and divine moon will become even stronger. They will no longer fear the heavenly Tao and will no longer be manipulated by the heavenly Tao. The primordial divine sun has existed since a long time ago. It will be completely devoured by the 9 suns. Mu Yu said again. Not long after, the divine sun will be born, and the divine desolate will usher in a new era. 9 suns, didn't 7 of them fall? Qin Yun asked. Just as he finished asking, he thought of something. Mu Yu said with a smile, 9 suns, 9 desolate lands. The sun has fallen into the 9 desolate lands, but it is still hidden in the great desolate, using the great desolate as its bed. It is only temporarily sleeping. I understand. The 9 suns are using the great desolate to set up a formation to devour the primordial divine sun. Qin Yun exclaimed. The other great desolate lands are currently crazily devouring the power of the primordial divine Sunday. Is that right? Yes. The sacred desolate is also devouring, but you can't sense the primal chaos divine power. Mu Yu said, when will the divine sun reach large success? Qin Yun asked. Soon, in a few days. Mu Yu said, the day the divine sun appears is also the day I return to heaven. Qin Yun is extremely shocked. It is actually in a few days. During the day, he saw that the primordial divine sun was very big. That primordial divine sun was so big, yet it was devoured in a few days. Palace King Brat, I am more worried that you won't be able to come to the divine desolate and won't be able to catch up to the great era of the divine desolate. And the environment of the sacred desolate will also become even more vile. Mu Yu said with a sigh, is the heavenly Tao punishing me, or is it tempering me? Qin Yun said with a bitter smile, both. As long as you come to the divine desolate, your trial will be completely over, and your potential is even more terrifying. I even suspect that after the heavenly Tao nirvana, there will be no rebirth. Why? Qin Yun asked. The heavenly eye is on you, the heavenly Tao nirvana. It is very likely that you are the new heavenly Tao. Mu Yu's voice is somewhat trembling. The heavenly Tao has placed extremely high hopes on you. Now it is up to you to pass the final test. Qin Yun is startled. He finally understood the meaning of obtaining the heavenly eye. Imperial Sound Heavenly Mother was very shocked about this matter before. It can be seen that she also knows what it means. Mu Yu said again, Palace King Brat, the heavenly eye still has the biggest secret. It is also the most powerful aspect of the heavenly eye, but it is very difficult to control. What exactly is hidden inside the heavenly eye? Qin Yun took a deep breath and asked. Suddenly knowing so many shocking secrets, Qin Yun found it hard to digest in a short period of time. The heavenly venerable inscription spirit is inside the heavenly eye. Mu Yu said, it is the legendary one and only heavenly venerable inscription spirit. Obtaining the heavenly venerable inscription spirit will allow one to wield heavenly runes. Qin Yun's heart trembled. Heavenly Venerable and Sun Emperor. These 2 inscription spirits only exist in legends. And Sun Emperor was later confirmed to be an inscription spirit and was obtained by Qin Yun. Only Heavenly Venerable has not appeared anywhere. The Heavenly Venerable inscription spirit is actually hidden inside the heavenly eye. Qin Yun did not sense the heavenly venerable inscription spirit and also doesn't know how to sense it. Is this true? Qin Yun doesn't dare to believe it. To wield the heavenly Tao, you need the heavenly venerable inscription spirit. The power of the heavenly Tao comes from many heavenly runes. Mu Yu said with smile. Palace King Brad, it seems like you still don't know your own situation. I just didn't expect that I would be so lucky, Qin Yun said with emotion. Lucky? If you enter the divine desolate, the heavenly Tao's punishment for you will also end. But your other tribulation will begin. Mu Yu chuckled a few times. You control heavenly venerable, Sun Emperor, Moon Lady, Star Lord. Do you think others will let you go? Qin Yun said with smile. I will hide it very well. Without enough strength, I won't expose myself. That is not up to you. Myriad worlds' heavens have merged. All kinds of strange people must have gathered in the divine desolate. They must have a way to find out. Mu Yu said, Myriad worlds' heavens. Qin Yun once traveled to other heavenly domains, but he only went to dozens of heavenly domains. Heavenly Law Divine Domain, Nine Nether Realm, Primal Chaos Realm, they will all merge together. Among them, Nine Nether Realm and Primal Chaos Realm have all kinds of super strong fellows. Mu Yu said with smile, the Divine Desolate will be very lively, but also very cruel. Nine Nether Realm is going to merge with the Divine Desolate. This is something Qin Yun did not expect. What frightened him the most is still the Primal Chaos Realm. The Primal Chaos race people are most likely from the Primal Chaos Realm. Of course, it won't be completely merged. There will only be a passage connecting it. Mu Yu added. Yang Yang mumbled in low voice. Grandma, doesn't that mean there will be a lot of delicious food? Qin Yun pinched Yang Yang's face. This little girl actually only thinks of more delicious food. Yang Yang, you will also become delicious food in the eyes of others. You must protect yourself. Mu Yu warned. Yang Yang spat in low voice. No one can eat me. I am very strong. I will also protect Big Brother. I won't let him be eaten. Qin Yun's thoughts are myriad because the divine desolate he is about to go to is no longer the divine desolate he is familiar with, but the newly born divine desolate, still at the beginning of the great era. He doesn't know what will happen. No one knows. Palace King Brad, you must master the Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture as soon as possible. Let those two girls teach you. I'll let them talk to you. Mu Yu said, Yang Shiyu and Lu Yu Shuyan have mastered the Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture. Chapter 2091. Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture is very profound. Mastering it is not easy. Lu Yu Shuyan obtained Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture a long time ago, but she was unable to master it. Only after she recovered Slaughter God's memories did she gradually master it. Later on, with Yang Shiyue's talent, they joined hands and gained a deeper understanding of Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture. Xiaoyun, let's make it short. We will first tell you the contents of Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture and explain the difficult parts we can understand. Yang Shiyue said, don't learn it in Sacred Desolate. It might cause you to suffer even heavier heavenly punishment. Come to God desolate first. After you pass this last hurdle, you won't have to worry anymore. Lu Yu Shuyan's voice also transmitted into Qin Yun's mind. Qin Yun heard their voice and promptly said, Sister Yang, Sister Shuyan, you should quickly begin. Back when Lu Yu Shuyan changed her name to Yao Fong, she stayed inside the Nine-Sun Divine Soul for a very long time and spent all her time comprehending Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture. Therefore, her understanding of Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture is very deep, and now she is the one teaching it. Yang Shiyue supplemented from the side or explained the difficult parts further. It can be said that their understanding of Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture is very shallow, so it is not enough for Qin Yun to completely master it. In the future, Qin Yun will have to comprehend it himself. Qin Yun listened patiently. What made him feel puzzled is that the Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture's cryptic and profound chants are not that difficult to him. Just by memorizing it, he was able to capture many key points. From them, he knew how to circulate power and release the Nine-Sun World Extermination Scripture's formidable world extermination technique. Of course, he only has an initial understanding. Next, he will have to comprehend it himself. Also, he can't master it now. He will have to wait until he reaches Divine Desolate to learn it. Not long after, Liu Shuyin and Yang Shuriwa finished teaching. They are inside Divine Moon. They can't meet, but they can communicate. Wait until I go to Divine Desolate. I will come find you. Qinyan said, Palace King Brad, if you truly come to Divine Desolate and want to enter Divine Moon, you will need a certain level of strength. Divine Moon is in a special space. Muyi said, It doesn't matter. I'll go to God Desolate and grow up very quickly. Qinyan is very confident in himself. Xiaoyun, Divine Desolate, is completely different from the Divine Desolate you are familiar with. Liu Shuyin said, Everything here has changed greatly. It's hard for me to explain the details to you. Can the natural law, divine realm, threaten you? Qinyan was more worried about this. The natural law divine realm is also unable to enter the space we are in. Only those who have cultivated the divine moon heart can freely enter and leave our divine moon world. Muyu said, Palace King Brad, this is not to restrict you. It is for the safety of Moon God Realm. The divine moon of the heavens must have opened up a very powerful space. This space was connected to the myriad worlds, so the divine moon could be seen in the myriad worlds. This meant that all living beings in the infinite worlds could go to the mystic moon. That was why a mystic moon realm had to be created and restricted to prevent the experts of the myriad realms and heavens from going there to disturb them. Qinyan knew the reason with a single thought. All right, wait until I go to the Divine Desolate. We will contact each other again. Qinyan said with a smile. Sister Shuyin, Sister Yang, please send my regards to Yuelon and the others. Palace King Brat, take care. Muyu said. Grandma Muyu goodbye. Qinyan bid farewell to Muyu this time. His heart is extremely heavy because Muyu is about to leave forever. Don't be sad, I'm just going home. Muyu Ci said with a smile. After Muyu finished speaking, she cut off contact with Qinyan. Qinyan could no longer sense any news from Muyu. He looked at the beautiful divine moon in the sky and said with a frown, Go home, Grandma Muyu's home. Is it related to my home? Big brother, your small bottle can't hold it anymore. Yang handed over the small bottle to Qinyan. For the past few years, it has been hanging on her body. The small bottle contained a lot of sunflame liquid. Now that it can no longer be filled, it should be full. The 9 sun divine hammer and heaven trampling divine boots are soaked in the small bottle. When needed, they can be taken out directly. Yang, you go in and play with Momo and the others. Big brother wants to go into seclusion and go to Divine Desolate. Qinyan stroked Yang's head and said with smile. I'll go in and drive with them. Yang said with smile. There are all kinds of fun toys inside the 9 sun divine spirit, as well as all kinds of strange and bizarre things. They were all made by Qinyan. Qinyan entered the floating cloud pagoda and took out a small cauldron. This small cauldron is white in color. It is a container refined by Qinyan. It is called Hidden Dragon Cauldron. Inside the cauldron is the Devil Star Tyrant Dragon. The Devil Star Tyrant Dragon has fused with the Divine Universe Heavenly Dragon's egg yolk for many years. Back then, when Qinyan killed the Divine Universe Evil Dragon, he obtained the Divine Universe Evil Dragon's corpse and put it inside to fuse with the Devil Star Tyrant Dragon. And now, he poured a large amount of sunflame liquid into the Hidden Dragon Cauldron. A dragon is being nurtured inside the cauldron. This dragon is a puppet dragon. It doesn't have its own consciousness and is completely controlled by Qinyan. Xiaoyun, once the dragon in the Hidden Dragon Cauldron is born, it will no longer be the Devil Star Tyrant Dragon. What will it be? Lingyun asked curiously. Let's call it 9 Sun Divine Dragon, Qinyan said with a smile. Moreover, it can transform into human form. As for the specifics, we will only know after it takes shape. Qinyan rarely used it. When he needed to use it, it would be used to save his life or at a critical moment. However, he felt that after it takes shape, it will definitely become Yang's favorite toy. Qinyan inspected the items he had refined once. The 9 Heavens Dragon Lion Cannon has already been modified by him. It can be turned into a pistol, and there are many bullets inside. All right, let's eat the pill. Qin Yun took out the pill refined from the divine flame leaf. After eating it, he began to strengthen his soul. Qin Yun is also secretly looking forward to what will happen to the divine desolate. He is not afraid that the changes in the divine desolate will be detrimental to him, because he is confident that he can grow up in the divine desolate and become an expert of a region. What he is more curious about is the divine position of the divine desolate. Those divine positions are still rather important. Later on, the heavenly law divine realm also intervened. If the myriad realms divine sun truly appeared, then the heaven creation divine palace would definitely make a move. The myriad realms divine sun might give birth to a powerful race to fight against the heavenly law divine realm and at the same time control the divine desolate. Therefore, a new divine position will definitely appear again. Qin Yun also doesn't know if his divine king heavenly seal will still be useful at that time. What he can be sure of is that many experts in the divine desolate will definitely not recognize him as the old divine king. The divine king of the divine desolate will be incomparably important, and his status should be extremely high. I wonder if the goddess of love can still be the divine king. Qin Yun thought about this matter as he refined the pill. If the goddess of love became the divine king of the divine desolate, she would be the divine king of the heavens. This name sounds very resounding. Ling Yun lightly snorted and said, "What right does she have to become the divine king of the heavens? Why don't we see if the fellows from the primal chaos realm are happy or not?" The previous divine king was only a self-proclaimed title in the divine desolate of the nine suns heavenly domain. But in the future, the divine king would be the divine king of the myriad realms. It would definitely depend on strength to become one. Qin Yun said with a smile, "What if there are more than one divine king?" The divine desolate is so big, no one will be willing to submit to anyone and then call themselves divine kings. That's just courting death. In the divine desolate, there will definitely be one strongest guy who won't allow others to call themselves divine kings, so they will go and destroy other guys who call themselves divine kings. Ling Yun said with a smile, "That's true. Those old fellows who are tired of living must be very bored and also very concerned about face. Apart from fighting and killing, they have nothing to do," Qin Yun said. Qin Yun's soul was originally very strong, but because he pawned it in the heavenly law pawn shop, it regressed a lot. Now he doesn't need to improve anymore. He just needs to recover. The divine pill refined from the divine flame leaf can help him recover extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed. My soul has finally recovered to the god level, but it is still not my peak state back then. Qin Yun secretly sensed the power of his blood soul and nodded in satisfaction. He went outside and immediately stored the floating cloud pagoda, waiting to be sucked into a higher level space. Outside, Qin Yun looked at the sky. There is only one sun in the sky. This sun is much bigger than the previous one. The sunlight that shone down is also filled with dense and powerful divine power. Is this the myriad realms' divine sun? It is indeed terrifying. This kind of power is much stronger than the primal chaos divine sun. Qin Yun sighed in his heart. Will there only be one sun in the future? Ling Yun sighed and said, "Without the 9 suns, I am not used to it. I don't know, maybe the 9 suns have already fused into one." Qin Yun wanted to see if the super huge primal chaos divine sun is still there. If he opened the heavenly eye, it would consume a lot of energy, and he is about to enter the divine desolate, so he must save enough energy. What made Qin Yun depressed is that after waiting for a while, there is no spatial fluctuation around him. Damn it, I have not been sucked into the divine world. Qin Yun cursed a few times. Is this my final tempering? If he is not sucked into the divine world, there is no other way. In the past, the gate of the divine desolate could be opened, but now it definitely won't appear. If it was anyone else, once they broke through and became a god, they would be easily sucked into the divine world. It could be said that they could easily go to the upper realms. And Qin Yun released formidable absolute yang divine power and randomly attacked all around, but there is no reaction at all. This is not difficult for me. Qin Yun chuckled. Luckily, I have the little ant queen. He had already let the little ant queen release a lot of spatial power and combined it with the Dan transformation heavenly furnace to refine a very strong spatial cannonball. This cost him more than 1,000 divine universe golden stones. Originally, this cannonball was used to send enemies into the chaotic space. But now, he can only use this precious spatial cannonball to break the space and let the little ant queen bring him into the divine world from the chaotic space. Qin Yun let the little ant queen come out and then shot the spatial cannonball. Chapter 2092. Qin Yun used the light transformation sacred pupil and immediately rushed into the spatial hole. After entering, he immediately felt how terrifying the spatial turbulence of the God-level space is. Fortunately, this is not the first time he encountered it. After entering the chaotic space, he released a powerful force to stabilize himself and not let the turbulence blow him away. Even though Qin Yun has a powerful 9-extinction divine body, his body is currently being torn apart by the chaotic space turbulence, causing him severe pain. He had no choice but to release a Heaven's Might Tyrant body barrier to protect himself and reduce the pain. After the Divine Desolate was formed, the space also became stronger and the turbulence became even stronger. Only after Qin Yun entered did he realize how great the change was. Back then, when he was tortured by the heavenly law divine domain, he was thrown into this kind of space. However, the current spatial turbulence is many times stronger than what he felt back then. Xiao Yun, can you hold on? Ling Yun said, if you can't hold on, can you return to the sacred desolate? It's not easy to go back. Qin Yun is surrounded by darkness in the chaotic space. Ling Yun is suddenly very worried. Qin Yun just broke through to Divine Man, and he is already facing such a powerful blow. Xiao Yun, how can we go to the Divine Desolate? You can't go on like this. Ling Yun is very anxious. The space wall of the Divine Desolate must have strengthened a lot. I need to wait for the little ant queen to accumulate power. Qin Yun said, contact the little ant queen and tell her to start accumulating power. Fortunately, he still has a lot of divine universe golden stones in his hands, which can allow the little ant queen to condense a powerful spatial power. The spatial power released by the space Xian ant queen from the dark space is still very strong. Even if the space wall of the Divine Desolate is strengthened, the space is still based on the primordial space. The space Xian ant can still open a hole in the space wall of the Divine Desolate. However, because the little ant queen is too young, she can't easily open it. She needs to absorb more power from the divine universe golden stones. Ling Yun communicated with the little ant queen and told her to start quickly. Qin Yun is protecting his own body and allowing the spatial turbulence to push him forward. Not good. I've encountered a time turbulence. Qin Yun cursed in a low voice. I hate time turbulence the most in space. The chaotic space is filled with all kinds of tyrannical power or time power. It is also because of this that the time changes in each space are different. If one were to encounter spatial turbulence and fall into a time vortex, it would cause the time one experienced to speed up or slow down. If the spatial distortion in the time vortex was reversed, then Qin Yun would have spent 10 years in the divine wilderness for only a few days or dozens of days. This was nothing. Such a reversal of time was still acceptable to Qin Yun. What he was most worried about was that a few days would pass in the time whirlpool, while a few years or decades would pass in the God's desolate. This was equivalent to stealing time. He had experienced this kind of thing before, and there was nothing he could do to change it. The time turbulence swept Qin Yun away. The time turbulence was extremely powerful. Combined with the spatial turbulence, Qin Yun was unable to struggle free. He could only watch helplessly as he was sucked into the time vortex. However, not long after, he sensed that he was trapped in a place with a very strong suction force. His surroundings were pitch black and filled with tyrannical energy. No matter what, I will be able to go to God desolate. Qin calmed himself down. If he entered the chaotic flow of time, he wouldn't be as badly impacted by the chaotic flow of space. He also doesn't know what kind of reversal of time is. Even if he knew, he wouldn't be able to change it. Qin patiently waited. The little ant queen needed time to condense her power. Moreover, in order to ensure success, she needed to condense even more spatial power. I hope the time reversal won't deviate too much, Qin said in his heart. Now he has calmed down and is comprehending the nine-sun world extermination scripture in his mind. Inside the nine-sun world extermination scripture, there's a chapter on the destruction of space and time. Using space and time, one can create very terrifying destruction. For example, space collapse. Space collapse is very terrifying. It can lead to spatial turbulence and suck everything into the chaotic space. And the destruction caused by time is also very powerful, accelerating time on a person's body. In a blink of an eye, he would have lived for tens of thousands of years and directly die of old age. This is more terrifying than any seal. Of course, this is very profound and difficult to master. Qin is currently in the time and space vortex, so he can't help but think of the nine-sun world extermination scripture. Time and space can be said to be the most mysterious power, Qin said in his heart. Although I have mastered many spatial runes, I am unable to use spatial power. Space Xian ants like the little ant queen are innately able to control spatial power. And Qin has also seen time power control before. For example, Xiao Yuanmei, she can see what will happen in the next few seconds or even have a premonition. As for how much she has mastered, Qin has never tried to find out. Because Xiao Yuanmei has a small mirror, the power she has mastered is very mixed. It is impossible for her to master time power. Qin patiently waited for more than 10 days. Little Ant Queen is finally done. Little Ant Queen can directly come out of the nine-sun divine soul. What made Qin amazed is that Little Ant Queen has also grown up. Originally, she was just a white light ball, but now she has a pair of substantial fairy wings flapping inside the light ball. Little Ant Queen condensed spatial power and released it. At the same time, she sensed the space of myriad heavens divine desolate. Not long after, she completely used up all the power she condensed and opened a small crack. Let's go. After Qin stored Little Ant Queen into the nine-sun divine soul, he used light transformation sacred pupil to turn himself into a beam of light and pass through the small crack. After coming out, Qin immediately relaxed. He has finally arrived at myriad heavens divine desolate. Now it is broad daylight. Moreover, it is noon. The sun is very fierce. Even though he has cultivated 9 extinction divine body, his skin is hot and uncomfortable because of the intense sunlight. If a living being did not cultivate divine body, it would be very easy for them to be burnt to charcoal in just noon. Myriad heavens divine desolate sun is indeed stronger. Qin looked at the sky. Even though he has the heavenly eye, he is unable to directly look at the myriad world's divine sun in the sky. The light is very intense. It pierced his eyes and burned them. What surprised him is that beside the huge myriad world's divine sun, there is actually a small sun. That small sun is only relatively small compared to the myriad world's divine Sunday originally. The 9 suns of the 9-sun heavenly domain were the same size as that small sun. Myriad world's divine sun gave birth to a small divine sun. Qin said in shock. It seems like the new 9 suns have already begun to be reborn so fast. Xiao Yun, you stayed in the time whirlpool for more than 10 days. Could it be that more than 100 years have passed outside? Ling Yun shouted in shock. Damn time whirlpool. Qin cursed a few times. He is also unable to determine how much time has passed in myriad heavens divine desolate. But when he thought about how the myriad world's divine sun gave birth to a small divine sun, he knew that a long time has passed in myriad heavens divine desolate. He was currently in a desert. It was a boundless sea of sand without a single plant. Myriad Heaven's divine desolate is indeed completely different from the divine desolate he is familiar with. Myriad Heaven's divine desolate has gathered the myriad heavens of the God world. The land has become extremely vast, and the space has become even stronger. Even the little queen ant can't easily open the space. Even if I fly, it will take more than 10 years to get to the other side, right? Qin flew in the sky and recalled that it also took a very long time to cross the heaven domain and the outer heaven domain. He can only wait for the sky to turn dark and the divine moon to appear, then contact the divine moon to ask about the situation. The sky turned dark and the divine moon of the heavens appeared. The divine moon seen in myriad heaven's divine desolate is bigger and rounder. Qin flew for more than half a day, but he is still in the desert without any shadow. He let Mo, little queen ant, Yang, little jade rabbit, and spirit creation heavenly cauldron come out. These little things love the moon very much. Look at the moon. I'll try and see if I can contact the Guanghan Palace. Qin took out a bee skin formation. He came to myriad heaven's divine desolate. He doesn't know if his curse heavenly punishment still exists. He can't help but worry that he would be forgotten. He experienced it before, being forgotten by his acquaintances. Qin sat inside the bee skin formation and injected energy into it. He began to sense the divine moon of the heavens. Only late at night did the bee skin formation react. Xiaoyan, the voice came from Xiao Yuelan. Yuelan, my little wife, I missed you so much. Qin happily shouted. Quickly bring me along. I don't know when I will be able to fly out of this desolate desert. Little husband, I also missed you very much. I thought I would never see you again. Xiao Yuelan's excited voice could be heard. Yuelan, I only started heading to myriad heaven's divine desolate when a myriad heaven's divine sun appeared. How long has it been since then? I entered the spatial turbulence and fell into a time whirlpool. I was trapped for more than 10 days before arriving at myriad heaven's divine desolate. Qin promptly told Xiao Yuelan about his experience. Little husband, it's already not easy for you to come to myriad heaven's divine desolate. Congratulations, you have completely broken free from the curse, heavenly punishment. I really want to see you immediately and kiss you. I miss you so much. Hearing Xiao Yuelan's words, Qin roughly guessed that a long time must have passed in myriad heaven's divine desolate. Yuelan, what about Sister Kiru and the others? Qin asked. They all went out. Our 9 Sun Divine, Maiden, all have that damn mission. Xiao Yuelan mumbled. I will also be leaving the divine moon world soon. That. How long has it been since the myriad heaven's divine sun appeared? Qin really wants to know how long he has been tricked. More than 100 years. Xiao Yuelan smiled tenderly and said, Don't mind it. It's only been 100 years. You are the 9 Sun Palace King. Your soul is also very ancient. This bit of time is nothing to you. Qin curled his lips and said, But I fell behind. Xiao Yuelan smiled tenderly and said, Xiaoyun, wasn't Sister Rujing deprived of her emotions? Chapter 2093. Xiao Yuelan is giggling non-stop. Qin doesn't know what she is laughing about. Yuelan, what is so funny about this? From now on, this ice mother tiger will not bite me anymore. Qin said, That's where you are wrong. Sister Rujing has now become an infatuated melancholic beauty, suffering from lovesickness and drowning her sorrows in wine all day long. She is the ice and snow goddess, also known as wine god. Xiao Yuelan said with smile. Qin is startled. He suddenly feels bad for Xian Rujing. She has become like this. Yuelan, is she still the ice and snow goddess? Qin asked. She is a very famous goddess in Myriad Realm's divine palace. In short, those with god position have more or less recovered. Xiao Yuelan said with smile. Yu Qing heavenly dragon god, little moon dragon god, father fire dragon god, your sister Shuyan killing god, and my most beloved sister star god, all have returned. This is contrary to Qin Yun's expectation. He thought that the god position would be reshuffled, He did not expect there to be no change. What about Sister Kiru? She is moon god. Qin Yun asked again. She did not go to Myriad Realm's divine palace. She has her own things to do. Of course, if she reports to Myriad Realm's divine palace, she will be able to return to her position. Xiao Yuelon paused, and then said again, "Oh, that's right. There is also foster father underworld god, Bossia, the sword god. They will all report to their positions." Qin Yun immediately took out his divine, king heavenly seal and said with frown, "I am sun god, the king of gods. Can I return to my position?" "Xiao Yin, you must not go." Sister Kiru said that any god can return to their position, but you can't, because sun god's position is very special. It is currently vacant, because there is no good candidate. Xiao Yuelon said, "Why can't I return? Who built Myriad Realm's divine palace?" Qin Yun asked. The formation of Myriad Realm's divine palace is very complicated. In short, Divine Yang World took the lead, then our Divine Moon World, Nine Nether Realm, Heaven Creation Divine Palace, Heavenly Law Divine Domain, Primal Chaos Realm, and many other great worlds cooperated to build it. Xiao Yuelon warned, "Xiao Yun, your Divine King Heavenly Seal is very important. You must take good care of it." "All right. Since Sister Kiru said that I can't return, I won't think about this matter anymore. You're all living very well. I am relieved." Qin Yun stored away the divine, King Heavenly Seal. "Xiao Yun, you have to hide well. If you don't have enough power, don't be too ostentatious. There are crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the heavenly God desolate. Even our divine moon world has to be very cautious." Xiao Yuelon said, "I know. The divine desolate has become so big. Moreover, there are Myriad Realms' divine sun. There must be many experts gathered here." Qin Yun naturally knows. "You have 9 altars in your hands. Don't expose them unless necessary." Xiao Yuelon warned again. Qin Yun looked around and said, "Yuelon, how can I see you? Is there any way to teleport me to a place with people?" "There's no other way. In the divine court of the myriad worlds, there is no longer a god position of space and god position of time. This is to prevent these two gods from using these two powers, which is against the laws of nature. Also, space and time runes will be classified as taboo runes. They are not allowed to be used in public. Only the Myriad Realm's divine court can use them." Xiao Yuelon warned in a grave tone because Qin Yun has mastered this kind of taboo rune. Qin Yun thought of the space god and said with a sigh, "Space god, this old brother, I wonder how he is doing." Xiao Yuelon said, "Xiao Yun, if you want to come to the divine moon world, you might need to fly for several decades. Only by taking the shuttle ship of the Myriad Realm's divine court will you be able to arrive faster." "Several decades?" Qin Yun is startled. This is too far away. "That's right. Even if you want to go to the Myriad Realm's divine court, it will still take you 10 to 20 years. Xiao Yuelon said, "The area you are in is a newly open area of the divine desolate. There are no living beings in this kind of place. You will need to fly for about half a year, and you should be able to see a mountain forest." Qin Yun sighed. He can only accept the reality. It seems that if he wants to go to the center of the divine desolate, it will still take a very long time. "Yuelon, are the Heavenly Lion King and the rest all right?" Qin Yun asked. "The Heavenly Lion King is already safe. He is guarding the door of the Myriad Realm's divine court." Xiao Yuelon said with a smile. This guy volunteered to guard the door. Qin Yun feels that the Heavenly Lion King must have some other purpose for going to the Myriad Realm's divine court to guard the door. "What about the love goddess? Have you heard of her? Is she still a divine king?" When Qin Yun asked about the love goddess, his voice became much colder. "She is his enemy." "Divine king?" "Now, whoever dares to call themselves divine king is courting death. She doesn't dare. She should just obediently return to being her love goddess." Xiao Yuelon also knows that the love goddess betrayed Qin Yun, so she also hates the love goddess very much. She snorted and said, "I will kill her sooner or later." Qin Yun said in deep voice, "She is a heavenly mother, and her position in the heavenly law divine realm is extremely high. She is not easy to deal with. We must be cautious." Yes, even in the myriad realms divine court, her position is extremely high. She is very popular. This hypocritical woman, she won't live for long. Xiao Yuelon groaned and said, Yuelon, if you want to leave the divine moon world, then arrange for someone to contact me. This way, I can understand the situation from time to time through you and familiarize myself with the divine desolate. Qin Yun said, Then I'll let Shuaru or Little Phoenix contact you. You are very familiar with most of the girls in the Guanghan Palace anyway. Xiao Yuelon said with mischievous smile. It can be seen that Little Phoenix and Nangong Shuaru have been taken advantage of by her. I will become stronger as soon as possible and then go find you. Qin Yun said with smile. Come quickly. We all miss you very much. Xiao Yuelon said, Xiao Yun, this is a new great era. It is a new beginning for us. Qin Yun missed 100 years, so he will temporarily fall behind in all aspects. Fortunately, he is used to this kind of thing. Soon after, Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelon chatted about many things. Xiao Yuelon met her mother Su Qing and Qin Yun's mother Qin. Speaking of this matter, Qin Yun suddenly recalled the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop. Every 100 years, Heavenly Law Pawn Shop can pawn things and exchange them for things they need or need. He feels that he can make good use of the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop to help him leave this damn place even faster. He doesn't want to spend another year and a half on the road. He will die of boredom. After Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelon cut off contact, he took back Yang Yang and the other group of cute little things into the Nine Sun Divine Soul. He took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and began summoning the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop shopkeeper. Not long after, a white cloud floated over and an old man with a beard that is like a fluttering white cloud appeared. This old man has a head full of white hair that looks like fluttering white cloud. After he saw Qin Yun, he said in shock, Yo, isn't this Lord Palace King? Yun Long, are you looking down on me? Qin Yun curled his lips and said, I just arrived at Divine Desolate. I am indeed very weak, but this is only temporary. Lord Palace King, you also know about Divine Desolate? It seems like you know quite a bit. Yun Long said with smile. I know a lot of things. Qin Yun groaned. What are you calling me Lord Palace King? I feel like you are mocking me. Yun Long chuckled and said, No, you are after all an influential person. It is said that you have 9 sun altars in your hands. Just this point, your future is limitless. Do you want to pawn the altar now? Don't even think about my altar, Qin Yun said with smile. All right, then what do you want to pawn? Yun Long said with sinister smile. Although the heavenly Tao is in nirvana and divine sun has appeared, this heavenly law pawn shop's business is getting better and better. I suddenly feel that the heavenly law pawn shop is like a black market. Qin Yun said, We are doing business openly and above board. Yin Long said. Qin Yun thought about it. What he needs the most right now is to increase his strength, but the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop will definitely not be able to help him. Qin Yun doesn't know what to exchange for a once-in-100-years pawn. Yin Long, are the 8-9 Sun sects still around? Qin Yun suddenly asked. They are, and they're all very strong sects. Yin Long nodded and said, Then did my divine inscription mountain come to divine desolate? Qin Yun asked again. It came. The divine universe ice dragon is also here. Yin Long said with smile. Lord Palace King, seeing that we are friends, I told you so many things. After knowing that the divine inscription mountain had arrived, Qin Yun felt a lot more at ease. He said with a smile, Yin Long, where do you think I should go to develop now? You are only a divine man, but with your strength, dealing with profound God shouldn't be a problem. But facing great God, you can only flee, so it would be better for you to go to the area where divine man and profound God are. Yin Long also gave Qin Yun a suggestion. Divine man, profound God, great God, these are the first 3 realms of cultivation. Qin Yun is currently only a divine man, and he has just arrived at divine desolate, but his strength is comparable to profound God. This is Yun Long's judgment. All right, immediately send me to the area with more profound God and great God. Qin Yun said, How many divine universe golden stones do you need? Well, 20. Yin Long said, "So many? Why don't you go rob them?" Qin Yin snorted, "Quite a few." Yin Long laughed. "Then forget it. Tell me, the closest place with people gathering. I'll go myself." Although Qin Yin did not lack those 20 divine universe golden stones, he could not spend them carelessly. One divine universe golden stone consultation fee. Yin Long chuckled. Qin Yin rolled his eyes at him and could only take out a divine universe golden stone. Yin Long told Qin Yin that the desert was in the southernmost region of the gods desolate. If he flew west for about half a year, he would reach the region where the divine court of the myriad worlds passed by. In that region, there was a divine position god overseeing it. As for what kind of god it was, Yin Long was not too sure. He only knew that the one in charge of that place was at most a great god. Although the little black donkey always called itself the black tortoise great god, the great god was nothing in the divine desolate. After Qin Yin bade farewell to Yin Long, he took out the heaven-leaping shuttle and released the little queen ant. He let the little queen ant absorb 10 divine universe golden stones so that the heaven-leaping shuttle would have enough power to travel through space. This way, he wouldn't have to waste a pawn opportunity and wouldn't have to let Yin Long cheat 20 divine universe golden stones. Qin Yin finally arrived at the area that Yin Long had mentioned. Chapter 2094. Qin Yin looked at the myriad realms' divine sun in the sky and felt the powerful divine power. Then, he absorbed the divine power through the 9-yang divine vein. The divine power of the divine desolate is much stronger than before. This can make living beings stronger, even faster. When Qin Yin was still the king of gods, even though he was very close to the 9 suns, the divine power he absorbed was only this much. Now, just a single myriad realm's divine sun has this kind of divine power. Soon, all kinds of living beings in the divine desolate will be very powerful. Even the flowers, plants, and trees in the great desolate will become very strong because of this. The mountain range in front of him was filled with lush green trees that exuded vitality. The mountains pierced through the clouds, and the trees on the mountains were shrouded in beautiful mist. This mountain range had just recovered. The trees were greedily absorbing the energy of heaven and earth, and then releasing a fragrant and lively aura. Qin Yin was previously lifeless in the desert, but after coming to this mountain forest, he immediately felt that it was very different. He felt much more energetic. However, this mountain forest was actually called 8 Evil Mountain Range. This was what Xiao Yuelan had told her before. 8 Evil Mountain Range was a relatively remote freshman area in the divine desolate. After many heavenly regions joined in, those heavenly regions with dense evil aura were merged into this place and transformed to purify most of the evil aura. Therefore, when Qin Yin came to 8 Evil Mountain Range, he didn't feel the slightest bit of evil aura. Since this 8 Evil Mountain Range is a combination of many evil heavenly regions, it must be very big. Although Qin Yin entered the 8 Evil Mountain Range, he didn't know where to find people. Xiao Yuelan said that the fact that there was a divine position god in charge of the 8 Evil Mountain Range meant that the myriad realms' divine court attached great importance to this place and would send ships over from time to time. The myriad realms' divine court's ship could travel through space. If Qin Yin wanted to quickly go to the strongest area of the divine desolate, he could only use the myriad realms' divine court ship. Therefore, he came to the 8 Evil Mountain Range to cultivate and raise his cultivation. He also wanted to wait for the myriad realms' divine court ship and also understand the movements of the divine desolate. Although the divine desolate was a new beginning, Qin Yun's enemies were still there, so he had to be cautious. The natural law divine realms, Heavenly Mother Moai, and the 8-9 Sun sects were all his great enemies, and there was also the mysterious primal chaos race. If there was a primal chaos realm in the divine wilderness, it meant that the mysterious primal chaos race would gradually surface. The primal chaos race was extremely powerful. In the future, it was very likely that they would dominate the entire God-desolate heavens. After entering the 8 Evil Ridge, Qin Yin did not know where to go. He could only land on the top of a mountain. As night fell, the beautiful and gigantic all-heavens divine moon slowly rose into the sky. The myriad worlds and heavens were enveloped by the gentle and beautiful moonlight. Even at night, the myriad worlds and heavens seemed extremely bright. Qin Yin took out a bee skin array. It was used to communicate with the Moon Palace. After some effort, he finally got in touch with the Moon Palace. Big Brother Yun. Little Phoenix's voice could be heard. From her voice, one could tell that she was very happy and excited. Little Phoenix, long time no see. Qin Yin said with a smile. Little Phoenix was originally Nangong Shueru's maid. Later on, with Qin Yun's help, she was able to enter the Guanghan Palace and has been accompanying Nangong Shueru ever since. Big Sister Yuelon told me that you need help. Little Phoenix hastily said, Big Brother Yun, what problem do you have now? Little Phoenix admires Qin Yin very much. She has been cultivating very hard, wanting to become stronger and help Qin Yin in the future. Don't worry, I don't have any problem right now. Qin Yin said with a smile. He remembers that Little Phoenix is a very warm-hearted and pure girl. She is also very hard-working. That's good. Big Sister Yuelon said that you have been delayed for more than 100 years to come to God Desolate. Your current cultivation is very low. There is no protection in God Desolate. It is very dangerous. Little Phoenix is still very worried about Qin Yin. Little Phoenix, I am at the 8 Evil Ridge. The 8 Evil Ridge is too big. I might not even be able to fly for a year and a half. Do you have a way to help me find a place where there is a boat? Qin Yin asked. Sure, I will tell you the location. Little Phoenix smiled and then immediately told Qin Yin many things about the 8 Evil Ridge. There are several forces in the 8 Evil Ridge. On the surface, these forces are supported by the myriad worlds divine court. Their main purpose is to help the evil forces in the 8 Evil Ridge to turn over a new leaf, or to suppress the development of evil forces in the 8 Evil Ridge. In God Desolate, there are many such places where evil forces gather. The myriad worlds divine court will send God thrones to manage these places to prevent these evil forces from doing anything out of line. In the 8 Evil Ridge, there is a heavenly evil cult whose leader is a god throne. As for what kind of god it is, the myriad worlds divine court did not announce it. They only said that the god is from the myriad worlds divine court and is very powerful. The reason why they did not announce it is to maintain a sense of mystery and make people fear the power of the god. According to Little Phoenix, in the 8 Evil Ridge, only the heavenly evil cult is doing serious things, helping the evil forces to turn over a new leaf. The other forces took advantage of the convenience given by the divine court of the myriad realms and did not do anything serious. They continued to develop their evil forces. Heavenly evil cult? Just the name alone doesn't sound like a good thing. Qin Yin shook his head and smiled. The leader of the heavenly evil cult is quite capable. I heard that he is the only positive force in the 8 Evil Ridge. He chose the name Heavenly Evil Cult mainly to blend into the environment of the 8 Evil Ridge. Little Phoenix said, How strong is the leader of the Heavenly Evil Cult? Qin Yin asked. I don't know, no one knows. The myriad worlds divine court said that the gods they sent are very powerful, so the other evil forces don't dare to do anything to the Heavenly Evil Cult. Little Phoenix said. Qin Yin looked around and smiled. The environment of the 8 Evil Ridge is not bad, but it is still a very remote place. A god throne is far away from the myriad worlds divine court and is sent to such a remote place. I'm 80% sure he is not a powerful guy. Qin Yin could see through this kind of thing at a glance. He felt that the god throne must be very unreliable, so the myriad worlds divine court packaged him in a mysterious way to deter other evil forces. Maybe, Little Phoenix said, Brother Xiao Yun, just go to the Heavenly Evil District and wait for the ship. The ship of the myriad worlds divine court usually comes once every 2 to 3 years. Just wait patiently. 2 to 3 years is nothing to Qin Yin. He nodded and said, Little Phoenix, I'll contact you if I have any questions. All right, goodbye, Brother Xiao Yun. Little Phoenix said happily. Qin Yun put away the bee skin formation and looked at the stars in the sky. Little Phoenix's guidance was mainly based on the stars and constellations in the sky. After Qin Yun determined the direction from the stars in the sky, he immediately flew to the heavenly evil district. He was only a true god now, but even if he faced a profound god whose cultivation was much higher than his strength was definitely not weak. The heavenly evil district was close to the north of the Eight Evil Ridge, but it was also close to the center of the Eight Evil Ridge. Because it was under the jurisdiction of the gods sent by the Myriad Worlds Divine Court, the divine ships of the Myriad Worlds Divine Court would stop there. Qin Yun flew for a few days before arriving at the Heavenly Evil District. The Heavenly Evil District was more prosperous than he had imagined. Moreover, it was very orderly. Although the entire area was very large, the various buildings were neatly planned and built very beautifully. Looking down from the sky, it was very beautiful. Just looking at it made one feel very comfortable. The Heavenly Evil District was very large, with a length and width of 1,000 miles. It was surrounded by huge divine mountains and used the divine mountains as pillars to set up formations. In the sky above the Heavenly Evil District, there were many stars of all sizes floating, setting up the Star Luo divine formation to protect the entire Heavenly Evil District. It could be seen that the Myriad Worlds Divine Court attached great importance to this Heavenly Evil District and had put in a lot of effort to build it. It's not as bad as I thought. Qin Yun only looked from the sky. He was unable to fly to the sky above the Heavenly Evil District. He landed at a low altitude and flew above the forest, heading towards the entrance of the Heavenly Evil District. At the entrance area, there were many people queuing up. The people in line all had the aura of evil spirits on them. Most of these people who cultivated the evil devil, Tao, had no choice but to come here to change. They also knew that cultivating the evil devil Tao was not a long-term solution. Qin Yun has traveled to many heavenly regions and knows that because the evil devil energy is too heavy, they were born tainted with that kind of evil power. It seems like this Myriad Worlds Divine Court really has some ideas. Qin Yun saw many people queuing up to enter the Heavenly Evil District and secretly nodded his head. He also wanted to queue up. He wanted to quickly enter the Heavenly Evil District and catch the next big ship. The God Desolate is too vast. If he wanted to cross the Great Desolate and go to another region, it would take a very long time. Moreover, he would encounter many dangers on the way. To enter the Heavenly Evil District, one must sign a soul contract. Inside the city, one must abide by the rules and not cause trouble everywhere. Otherwise, one will suffer a backlash from the soul contract. Their soul will be in great pain and might even fly away and scatter. If there was anything, one would have to leave the Heavenly Evil District to solve it. When Qin Yun entered, he was checked. If the evil devil power on his body is too heavy, then other arrangements will be made. If one doesn't have evil devil power, it would be very easy to enter. When Qin Yun was queuing up, he saw many people receiving cultivation techniques and some pills. Those pills are not free. After receiving them and entering the Heavenly Evil District, one has to repay them by doing things. The Heavenly Evil Spirit sect often arrange for people to go out and do some hard work. Qin Yun smoothly entered the Heavenly Evil District. After entering, he was able to absorb more divine power. This is mainly because of the great formation inside the city. This city is a place to turn over a new leaf and become a new person. I feel strange coming to this place. Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. Xiao Yun, it's the same as starting over. Ling Yun said with a smile. Chapter 2095. Most of the God-tier materials in Qin Yun's hands have been used up, and he has nothing left to sell. Only the Divine Universe Golden Stones and many other scary things can be sold. But even if he sells the Divine Universe Golden Stones, no one can afford them. The only thing he could sell was to make some divine talismans or divine artifacts. But this way, it will be too ostentatious. After all, he is still a newbie who has just entered the Divine Desolate. He doesn't have enough understanding of the divine desolate, so he doesn't dare to be too high profile. Qin Yun was once the Nine-Yang Palace King, the king of gods. Now that he has returned to the divine desolate, he can start from the beginning. To him, it is just cultivation. It can temper his mental state and let him have a better understanding of the divine desolate. In the center of the heavenly evil district, there's a large and elegant building surrounding a manor with a lake and river. There were a few mountains in the center, and one of the mountains had a spectacular waterfall flowing down. When approaching the center, the vast manor makes people yearn for it. Especially the waterfall, it looks like it is a divine spring that is drawn from the ground to the top of the mountain and then poured down, causing the divine spring to emit water vapor. The peaks of the mountains are filled with spiritual mist. From time to time, many huge divine cranes would fly over the waterfall, passing through the dense divine power mist. Qin Yun stood outside the walls of the manor and observed the mountains. He discovered that these mountains are not ordinary mountains. They have been specially refined. There are many golden runes on the surface of the mountains, and the trees on the mountains have vines that hang down, naturally forming the runes. Others might not be able to discover the wonders of these mountains, but Qin Yun can tell with a glance that this is a formation created by an expert imitating nature. Although they are man-made mountains, they're no different from naturally formed mountains after being arranged ingeniously. They can connect to the divine desolate land and absorb the divine sun energy of the myriad worlds. There are quite a few experts in the myriad worlds' divine court. Qin Yun inwardly praised those mountains. That formation can be said to be the core of the entire heavenly evil district's great formation. The energy it condenses has a kind of heart-clearing power that can suppress evil thoughts. The heavenly evil spirit sect is not evil at all. Following the wall, Qin Yun came to the entrance and saw many people queuing up to join the heavenly fiend god sect. After joining the heavenly evil sect, not only would they be able to turn over a new leaf, their cultivation would also soar. Qin Yun observed from the entrance. Those who wanted to join the heavenly evil god sect had to answer honestly about the evil deeds they've done in the past. Those who had committed serious crimes would be imprisoned for a period of time, at least 1,000 years, at most 10,000 years. Not to mention, he was going to be shackled by soul shackles. The so-called soul shackles was an even stronger soul contract that forbade one from doing evil again. Otherwise, one's soul would scatter. The myriad world's divine court is really smart to use this method to tame the demons. Qin Yun also queued up. Since he didn't have any nefarious aura on him, he could pass the interview and be assigned to the heavenly evil sect as a disciple. He was different from other demons. He didn't need to be shackled by soul shackles. Also, he said that he was good at growing medicinal herbs and received very good treatment. This place was very lacking in people who could grow medicinal herbs. The Eight Evil Ridge was a new area with many demons. It was dangerous to go out, and the future was bleak if one stayed here. Those who knew how to grow medicinal herbs rarely came to this place. Most of them would go to better places to develop. After joining the heavenly evil sect, Qin Yun planned to grow medicinal herbs and cultivate his mind. He would wait for the myriad world's divine court's ship to arrive and see if he could break through as soon as possible. The heavenly evil sect's herb garden had a few hundred acres. This herb garden was already abandoned, and it was next to the mountain with the waterfall. There were many dying medicinal herbs in the herb garden. When Qin Yun was brought here, the supervisor told Qin Yun many things about the herb garden. Little Qin, if you grow it well, the higher-ups will not mistreat you. Life here will be very boring, so I hope you can bear with it. Supervisor Wang patted Qin Yun's shoulder and smiled. The sect leader attaches great importance to this herb garden, but he couldn't find anyone to take care of it. Supervisor Wang, I've just become a deity. I'm not even in the initial stage. It'll be difficult for me to grow it. Qin Yun said. Little Qin, don't worry. If you can grow good medicinal herbs, the sect leader and the elders will reward you. At that time, you will surely soar to great heights. Supervisor Wang said. Let me tell you some good news. After a period of time, The myriad world's divine court will send a few people to help take care of the herb garden. They are all experts from the divine court. This is your opportunity. Qin Yun is secretly startled. The myriad world's divine court actually sent people to plant medicinal herbs here. He carefully observed the herb garden again. Although it is filled with half-dead medicinal herbs, the divine power here is very dense, so it shouldn't be like this. Supervisor Wang, when can I see the sect leader? Qin Yun wants to see which god will come to oversee this place. Don't worry, you will be able to see the sect leader. Supervisor Wang patted Qin Yun's shoulder, then exhorted a few things and left. After leaving the herb garden, Supervisor Wang shook his head and said with sneer, "A small character wants to see the sect leader? This daddy has never seen the sect leader. In a few days, the people from the myriad world's divine court will come. If I can't find someone to guard the herb garden, they will say that I am neglecting my duty." With Qin Yun in charge of guarding the herb garden, Supervisor Wang happily left. Supervisor Wang is a late-stage true god. He is not a very powerful person. Therefore, he has to be humble when facing the people from the divine court. Inside the herb garden, Qin Yun walked inside the herb garden, looked at the medicinal herbs, and shook his head. What kind of people are these? Even a good seedling would be planted like this. His heart ached when he saw this. As the Nine-Yang Palace King, the former king of gods, although he is not very proficient in alchemy, he is still very familiar with the basics. He just didn't put much effort into alchemy. The Tao of alchemy can be said to be difficult, but it is also not easy. Just like Inscription Master, it consumes a lot of materials. It requires a lot of materials to practice in order to enter the Tao. Too much water. Qin Yun immediately knew the problem with one look. There's a big waterfall nearby. The person who looked after the herb garden must have thought that there is too much divine spring, so he watered it with all his might. Qin Yun looked around and found no one nearby. This place is also a relatively remote area of the manor. Usually, no one comes here, mainly because the waterfall is too noisy. Also, the herbs here can't grow, so some people say that the death energy here is too heavy, so they don't want people to come near. No one is nearby. Qin Yun began drawing 10 lines. In an instant, he drew a simple water drawing rune and guided the water from the waterfall over. Before, it was overwatered, but after being abandoned for many days, it also needs to be irrigated. In order to let the medicinal herbs better absorb the energy of the divine spring, Qin Yun also drew several groups of runes in a few areas of the herb garden and imprinted them on the soil. To him, this is a very easy matter. After all, he is an inscription dome master. He could draw runes by releasing the power of his blood spirit. It is very convenient for inscription masters to do anything. Otherwise, they would not have the title of inscription pill master. After Qin Yun finished doing all this, he cleaned a small house and waited inside for the night. At night, he watered it again and then drew patterns on the soil to let the medicinal herbs absorb the power of the divine moon. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yun cultivated for a few days. This kind of quiet life was very suitable for his cultivation. He, who had just entered the divine desolate land, had missed 100 years of time. His heart was originally very restless and even a little anxious. After a few days of meditation, with his eyes closed, he finally adjusted his mentality. I, the king of the gods, will definitely rise up in this great desolate land. Heavenly law divine realm, god of love. Just you wait. Qin Yun walked out of the hut and saw the lush green medicinal field outside. His mood immediately became incomparably comfortable. In just a few days, those medicinal seedlings had been reborn and were growing extremely well. However, this morning, other people came to the medicinal field. Qin Yun stood in front of the wooden hut and saw 3 beautiful men and women dressed in luxurious brocade robes or dresses walking over. Supervisor Wang was very respectful in front of them. His face was full of smiles, and he didn't even straighten his back. He kept bowing as he followed beside them. With a glance, it was obvious that the 3 youths were sent by the Myriad Realm's divine court. Supervisor Wang, didn't you say that the medicinal seedlings here have withered badly? The rather beautiful woman in the red dress came in from the door and said with a frown when she saw the medicinal seedlings in the medicinal field, "This is also called withering." A white-robed youth said coldly, "Supervisor Wong, how long has it been since you last came to this medicinal field?" I just haven't been here for a few days." Supervisor Wong looked at Qin Yin outside the hut and was extremely shocked. He never expected that this fellow called Little Qin would be able to revive the medicinal seedlings in this medicinal field in just a few days. And he immediately thought that this was definitely a coincidence. Qin Yin was dressed in simple gray clothes. His handsome face was well-defined and filled with masculinity. He had a faint smile on his face and a pair of bright eyes that were very gentle. With a glance, it could be seen that he was an extremely easygoing person. "Little Qin, what's going on?" Supervisor Wong hurriedly came to Qin Yun's side and asked in a low voice. "I watered it with some water and then took good care of it." Finally, the medicinal seedlings were revived. Qin Yun said casually, "Oomph, nonsense. How could something like growing medicinal herbs be so easy? And these are all very precious divine medicines." When the white-robed man saw that Qin Yun was more handsome than him, he felt jealous and sneered. Supervisor Wong immediately smiled apologetically and said, "Master Li is right. After all, he is a master from the Myriad Realms Divine Court. He is experienced and knowledgeable." Chapter 2096. Qin Huayu smiled faintly and said softly, "Young Master Li, Li Xuanda's great name is truly well known. Among the three of us, young Master Li and young Master Long's achievements are far above mine. You're flattering me. Our reputation is undeserved. You are the one who has become a profound god in the Qin family for many years, and you are also proficient in flowers." Li Xuanda laughed self-deprecatingly. "As for me, I'm a 3,000-year-old cured meat. My 3,000-year-old years can't even compare to your 100 years of cultivation." Young Master Long had already walked into the medicinal field and used his hands to touch the seedlings, carefully checking the growth of the seedlings. Qin Huayu shook her head with a smile and also walked into the medicinal field. Seeing that the medicinal herbs were growing extremely well, her expression became much more relaxed. If the medicinal sprouts here were really about to wither and die, as Manager Wong said, then their workload would be great. Li Xuanda looked at young Master Dragon and said, "Brother Long, I heard that you only became a profound god when you were 5,000 years old. But you are also quite amazing. You are actually an inscription pill master. I, Long Lang, am just a piece of trash. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been arranged to do such boring things here." Only then did Long Lang speak. His words also caused Li Xuanda's expression to stiffen. Qin Yin felt that Long Lang was not bad. When he came here, he did not speak much. He directly checked the medicinal seedlings. He was a person who wanted to focus on his work. On the other hand, Li Xuanda did not do anything. Not only did he go and pick up girls, he even secretly mocked Long Lang for only becoming profound god at the age of 5,000. Qin Yin also understood that many of the major families in the Divine Wilderness would send their young disciples to the Divine Palace of Myriad Worlds. In the God Realm, 5,000 years was indeed considered young. That Qin Huayu was only 100 years old and had already become a profound god. Qin Yin only watched from the side, neither servile nor overbearing. Manager Wang didn't dare to interrupt. He was still a little afraid. He really didn't expect that this medicinal field could really come back to life. After Qin Huayu inspected a dozen or so medicinal sprouts, she exclaimed in admiration, "The medicinal sprouts are growing extremely well. Who planted these in the first place? There's clearly such a capable person. So why did you send us here?" Long Langkai also looked at Manager Wang in confusion. Manager Wang was stunned. Before Qin Yin came, this medicinal field had been abandoned for more than 2 years. It was Qin Yun's arrival that all the medicinal sprouts in the medicinal field were revived. "Speak truthfully," Long Lang said in a deep voice. "Before little Qin came, it was that old man Wu who took care of it. However, he drew too much water and soak this place. He even said that this kind of medicinal herb should be planted like this. Later on, before the medicinal seedlings could grow, he ran away. Supervisor Wang glanced at Qin Yun and continued. After 2 years of neglect, little Qin came a few times. Heavens, the medicinal sprout has regained its vitality. Li Xuanda looked at Qin Yun and said with a sneer, "Looks like our luck is pretty good. Just as we arrived, the medicinal sprout has been revived. This little god can get lost now." Master Li, the sect leader, said that someone must watch over the medicinal field. "Are the 3 of you going to stay here for a long time?" Manager Wang asked in a low voice. Of course. After Long Lang finished speaking, he took out a small house from his storage magic treasure and went inside. With a bang, he slammed the door shut. Qin Huayu released an enormous red flower bud that was over 10 meters tall. That flower bud was her residence. She had also entered it, probably to rest. What Li Xuanda released was a magnificent building. "Xiao Qin, I will arrange something else for you." Manager Wang promptly brought Qin Yun out of the medicinal field and said in a low voice, "It's really good to have 3 experts watching over it." Qin Yun left with Manager Wang and was arranged to stay near the medicinal field. The main task is to cut meat, a lot of beast meat. The beast meat is to be fed to the divine eagles. There are many divine eagles in the heavenly evil god sect. They are used to search outside or to pass on information. These are all chores. To Qin Yun, it is very easy. He secretly used a very sharp weapon and quickly cut the beast meat. After finishing, he began cultivating. The God Realm has 3 small realms. God Realm mainly cultivates 3 divine profound Tao images. After cultivating 1 divine profound Tao image, one can enter the early stage God Realm. The so-called divine profound Tao image is to use divine power and mental power to condense a virtual image around the God life crystal and then cultivate the virtual image into a true body. Qin Yun has already started early on. His heavenly Tao fierce power, little heavenly lion, heavenly Tao flame violent power, little divine hammer, and heavenly Tao proud power, little divine dragon are the initial state of the 3 divine profound Tao images. Right now, he only needed to cultivate further and condense the 3 of them into his true body. When the divine profound Tao image cultivated its true body, its divine power would also become stronger. When the 3 divine profound Tao images were completely cultivated, they would be able to open the profound God Tao meridian and step into the profound God realm. Qin Yun had experienced this several times, so it was very easy for him to cultivate in this life. It is impossible to use Divine Universe Golden Stone to cultivate the divine profound Tao image. Divine Universe Golden Stone is only suitable for cultivating the physical body and soul. Qin Yun was very clear about this because he had tried it before. The divine profound Tao image was a very special thing. It could be said that it was cultivating one's own Tao. The divine profound Tao image would gradually become stronger in the future, and the divine power it displayed would also become stronger. That long lank eye from before was born in the divine wasteland. If his parents were both gods, then he would definitely be a god after he was born. However, it took him 5,000 years to become a profound god. One must know that he was still a disciple of an aristocratic family. If it was any other ordinary person, it would be even more difficult to become a profound god. Fortunately, it was a great era, so he would grow up much faster. If he had enough resources, his breakthrough speed would be very fast. Xiao Yun, the medicinal ingredients they are growing are wanted by the Myriad Realms Divine Court. The Myriad Realms Divine Court came all the way here to grow medicinal ingredients. What kind of medicinal ingredients are they? Ling Yuner asked. I have never seen those medicinal ingredients before. Ask Shuiru or Little Phoenix. Qin Yun said with frown. Nangon Shuiru is an inscription pill master. She has already gone to the Myriad Realms Divine Court. No one knows what she is going to do. The Divine Moon World's Guanghan Palace has a share in the construction of the Myriad Realms Divine Court, so Nangon Shuru can also go there. Qin Yun patiently cultivated and waited for the Divine Moon to appear at night before contacting Little Phoenix. With the 9-sun divine vein, he can absorb the power of the divine sun very quickly. Even so, if he wants to condense a divine, profound Tao image, it will take a very long time. He estimates that it will take about 10 years. Condensing 3 divine, profound Tao images will take 30 years. 30 years to break through to the profound God realm. This can be said to be very fast, but Qin Yun feels that it is too slow. At night, Qin Yun used the beast skin formation to contact Little Phoenix. Little Phoenix is with Nangang Shuru. She is also very fond of flowers and grasses. Qin Yun even helped her transform her martial spirit, making it suitable for growing medicinal ingredients. Therefore, she is very proficient in medicinal ingredients. Great Master Little Phoenix, I have something to ask you, Qin Yun said with smile. Brother Xiao Yun, why are you calling me that? I can't afford it. Little Phoenix is overwhelmed by the favor. She has been in the Guanghan Palace for a long time. She knows that Qin Yun used to be the 9-sun Palace King and the God King. No matter which title, they are all very famous. I am growing a kind of medicinal ingredient in the Heavenly Evil God Sect's medicinal garden. That kind of medicinal ingredient is wanted by the Myriad Realms Divine Court. That kind of grass is green. Its leaves look like fairy wings. Qin Yun did not even finish speaking when Little Phoenix cried out in alarm. That is Xian Wing Divine Grass. Little Phoenix promptly said, Xian Wing Divine Grass? Qin Yun has been away from Divine Desolate for tens of thousands of years. It is not strange for him to have new medicinal ingredients. The seeds of Xian Wing Divine Grass are very useful. They can allow people to quickly condense profound spirit Tao image. The name also implies that if you eat the pill refined from the seeds, you can quickly fly to profound God realm. The conditions to grow Xian Wing Divine Grass are very harsh, yet the Myriad Realms Divine Court has so many seedlings. Little Phoenix said. Qin Yun's eyes moved quickly. This kind of medicinal ingredient is very difficult to grow. The sect leader must have known that it is impossible to grow it, so he had no choice but to wait for the Divine Court to send people over. How harsh are the conditions to grow it? Qin Yun asked. You need to harmonize the power of sun and moon. You also need divine spring that contains divine power, and you also need to water it properly. The most difficult part is this kind of Xian Wing Divine Grass. It needs to be protected very well. You need to set up several great formations. Little Phoenix said. Qin Yun finds it very strange because he casually made the seedlings grow again. Moreover, they are growing very well. It is not as difficult as Little Phoenix said. Little Phoenix, you don't have many of these medicinal ingredients, right? Qin Yun asked. Of course not. Even the Myriad Realms Divine Court doesn't have many. Our Guanghan Palace is also planning them, but the output is very low. Little Phoenix's voice sounded. For what you said, the Myriad Realms Divine Court attaches great importance to those medicinal fields. That's why they use so many seeds to grow them. When Qin Yun was planting them, he secretly planted quite a few seedlings and placed them inside the 9-sun Divine Spirit. He planned to secretly plant a few and use them with Divine Flame Leaf and Divine Universe Golden Stone to refine pills. This would speed up his cultivation and allow him to cultivate 3 divine, profound Tao images as soon as possible. Because he is near the waterfall, Qin Yun very easily obtained a lot of divine spring. The environment inside the first pearl of the 9-sun Divine Spirit is also very good. It just lacks the illumination of the divine sun and divine moon. It's not easy to plant. I need to plant it in that medicinal field. Qin Yun tried for a few days and realized that the planting conditions are quite harsh. Today, he went to cut the beast meat to feed the eagle and met Manager Wang. According to Manager Wang, the medicinal seedlings in that medicinal field have started to turn yellow. Those leaves that look like fairy wings have all curled up, and some have even fallen off. Even the 3 young experts of the Myriad Realms Divine Court are now badly battered. They're trying to find a reason. Qin Yun is even more astonished in his heart, because Qin Huayu, Long Lankai, and Li Xuanda all seem to be of pretty good level, but they are actually unable to make those medicinal ingredients grow stably. Could it be that the runes I inserted into the ground have dissipated? That's why there are problems? The runes drawn by Qin Yun using inscription battle technique are very useful because they are condensed from very strong blood spirit power. They can perfectly fuse with the soil and the roots of the medicinal plants. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.